Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, for this extremely extra beefy episode, is none other than the Jotun Toten vault dwelling, tormentor slicing, Cloud Strider himself, Mr. Josh Finney.
Corey, let me tell you something. Every single day that Bungie released something this week, I just went, oh god, like silently to myself.
Yep. I have 2 energy drinks. I have some sour Myconites. I'm ready to go.
I have almost finished my Red Bull already because I was like, you know what, I need to get the juices flowing. I need to be ready to go. We have no less than 5 major things to talk about. One of which is the first state of the game we've had in 2 years. One of which is the longest ViDoc we've ever gotten for Destiny.
Yep.
At least for Destiny 2.
We have the finale of the season.
It's the best season-ending mission we've ever had in Destiny, with like one of the best cutscenes ever.
No, cutscene was worth it.
Oh my god, dude! It's been so much. So we're just gonna jump straight into it. I'm not gonna give Trevor the satisfaction of saying that it's been a week. It's been a fucking week, guys.
It's been a fucking week.
It's been a fucking week. So no Lore Corner tonight. But to like kind of give you guys like a brief look at what we're thinking for the next couple of weeks. Next week episode is regular. The week after, it's really going to depend on what they decide to drop on us. But campaign review for sure will come that week, and then the week after we've got some raid stuff to talk about. We got a big raid, so lots of stuff coming for the next couple of weeks. Really, the train is not slowing down. It's not slowing down. God willing, they don't drop anything else on us between now and next Thursday, because next Thursday, really hoping we can take the time to sit down and talk about what we think about the seasons in general. We kind of had to skip a Plunder recap, and we obviously haven't recapped Seraph. Both of us took vacations and breaks during these seasons.
Yep.
So it would be kind of nice to be able to sit down and talk about those in a little bit more detail. And maybe we'll have the final sandbox changes on Thursday. But we would be remiss if we did not start the top of the episode without talking about the amazing end of season mission that we got, the Abhorrent Imperative.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Not gonna lie, Josh, it was good. I'll give it to him. It was pretty good.
It's good. So I want to start talking about the mission. Like we're gonna talk less about the mission. I think more about the cutscene and the implications of what comes after. But it starts out with dialogue. If you had the whole seasonal quest done, it's really cool. It loads you into the helm, and like the door to Rasputin's room is sealed. You can't walk out of there. You can't go do anything else if you've loaded into the mission. So hope you had DIM installed, ready to go.
Yep.
And it just pretty much automatically throws you into the mission. It's like, go talk to Rasputin. And you are automatically flying in. They drop you off in the spacewalk, and you are already in the thick of it. You have to fight your way up to the platform where we fight the Briggs in the Operation Seraph Shield. But who is there? Lo and behold, fucking Aramis.
Shocker.
This is the moment where I realized that a linear fusion rifle was not going to get me very far in this mission. The amount of running around I had to do, just trying to stay alive, was kind of wild. You're just trying to whittle her health down. You get her not even halfway, and then she teleports, and we don't see her again the rest of the mission. You're still fighting your way through. You get to summon the heavy frames. We haven't seen the heavy frames since Season of the Worthy, I think, is the last time we got the heavy frames.
Yeah.
With the Seraph Towers. So those bad boys are making a reappearance.
That was cool.
And you have to, the mechanic with them, I think, is really cool. You have to keep pushing forward in order to like trigger the next wave of enemies. Otherwise, you just keep fighting the same wave over and over again. Eventually, you get up to the bridge where we fight we fight Aramis's lieutenant in Seraph Shield, and that's where things take a turn for the worse. We get to fight the Wrathborn again, and one of those goddamn giant invisible witches.
Yep.
And
super fun.
Let me tell you, this was moment number 2 where I realized maybe running a linear fusion rifle was not a good idea when I saw that thing was hitting for like 8K. It was shockingly hard to land a headshot on her.
Yeah, I just kind of ran around and just kept shooting. I was just like, please let me
I kept
just.
triggering Volt Shot on my Icolos SMG and then just dumping it straight into her whenever
Mm,
there would be enemies around. Kind of waiting to get my super back. I also ran a very bad super for that room. I was running Arc Staff
mm,
for Gathering Storm for hunters. But once you beat the witch, the mission is over. The mission just ends,
mm-hmm.
and you get a 4-minute cutscene, and it's not one of the hand drawn cutscenes or
No,
a
it's like a real.
choppy in engine cutscene. It's like high quality shit.
It's
Like this
like
was
Blur quality style, full
yeah,
on.
it's like one of those that we would normally get during the campaign.
Mm.
Um, dare I say, one of the most emotional cutscenes I think that we've gotten in Destiny history.
I got pretty choked up. I'm not gonna lie. I got
Um,
pretty emotional
Yeah,
watching.
I got pretty emotional. It made me happy I was playing it by myself. But
Mm-hmm.
I got fairly choked up playing it. For anyone who hasn't seen the cutscene, we are going to spoil the whole thing. I really hope if you're listening to a Destiny podcast 2 weeks before an expansion comes out, you've played the end of season mission.
Right.
It's also been spoiled to holy hell and back all over socials, and Bungie themselves tweeted out the cutscene like 2 minutes after reset. So people
Yeah.
unknowingly spoiled themselves.
Yeah.
Um, but it starts out with Crow on top of the Schnell building in the last city, which deep cut from Scourge of the Past, by the way.
Right.
He's standing on top of a Schnell building and looking up at the Traveler, and he takes his hood off, and all of a sudden the music kicks in. You see the Traveler start to raise up. It cuts to we see Mithrax and Ido in the Elixni corridor. Saint and Osiris are there with them also. They're watching it, and then you get a shot from the tower. And this is one of my favorite shots in a series of favorite shots, is seeing Zavala and Ikora staring up at the Traveler. But next to them are 3 Guardians dressed in the original D1 armor.
Like the original like character select
Yeah,
D1 armor,
like
which was
the
super
D1
cool.
armor that was like on the fucking box art.
Mm-hmm.
So that was some sweet nostalgia, and really, I really low key hope that means they're going to put this in the game just for nostalgic purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I wonder if it'll be like a dungeon set.
I'd love for it just to drop in the Cosmodrome. Honestly, put it in.
I wonder if
We're
it's
gonna
the
talk about
seasonal
it,
armor.
but we're getting some of the older strikes overhauled. Put
Mm-hmm.
it in rewards in those, kind of like the Scion capes used to be in D1.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's going to be the seasonal armor too for the new
So
season.
we're gonna hold that. We're gonna hold that thought because we definitely saw the seasonal armor today.
Did we
Um,
see the seasonal armor? Or did we see the expansion
we
armor?
saw the seasonal armor. The seasonal armor is in fact seen in one of the shots and in one of the UI shots that we got to see. It's Techian themed.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Everyone's got robes and hoods. Titans have hoods now.
Cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, you see that, and it's going up into space, and all this time, Aramis is activating the Warsat network. The Guardian didn't breach the door in time, essentially, and it cuts to Anna and Rasputin, and Anna's trying in vain to stop it, and Rasputin basically is like, "It's time. It's time to let go. It's
Yeah.
time. Like you have to let me go. I'm the only one who can
Ooh.
stop it. Create the back door and let me in." And it's kind of at that moment you start tearing up because Rasputin's story is synonymous with Destiny.
Yeah.
One of the very first missions in Destiny 1 is us reactivating the Warmind network.
Yeah.
It's activating Rasputin in old Russia.
Yeah.
And here we are 9 years later watching him die
Right.
again.
Mhm.
I want to address a question before we get too far, though. It's not one that was specifically submitted to the show, but that I saw a lot of discussion about in the Discord, and I've seen a lot online about well, why couldn't Anna have just made a backup of Rasputin? I think it's important to remember that the Rasputin that's in the Ingram is the backup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is the backup. That is the fragmented code of Rasputin she saved after the Witness torpedoed him
Right.
at the beginning of Arrivals.
Right.
So I think it's important to remember that first off. So what's left is it. It's not as simple as just unplug and replug in. No, you unplug him, he's dead. He's gone.
Yeah. Yep.
Clovis that we had in the helm was a copy.
Mm-hmm.
Rasputin, if Rasputin was a copy, it would have been, oh, we downloaded him into an Ingram from the uh, Braytech Futurescape and brought him there. Not that simple. So that this is the final death for Rasputin for now. Rasputin basically sacrifices himself to save not just humanity, but to save the Traveler, which I think is kind of a brilliant piece of storytelling when for literally like 6 or 7 years, the theory was that Rasputin shot the Traveler to keep it from leaving during the collapse. That was a very popular fan theory. And in this one, when people saw the Traveler going up into the sky, they're like, oh my God, the Traveler's leaving. And that's what the characters think too, right? I have a different interpretation of this scene. I don't see this the Traveler fleeing. Like, as the witness says, the Traveler isn't fleeing. It has nowhere else to run to.
Right.
I saw this as the Traveler going up, not only to meet its enemies head on, but we always talk about the Traveler as a sentient being. This is the first time it's moved since the collapse. And it going up into the sky to meet the Warsat network head on, I think was its way of saying, if it dies, if it gets nuked by this network, it's not going to let the city get taken out with it. Which it surely, if the Warsat network would have fired on the Traveler over the city, and it was Aramis's intent, it would have wiped out the Guardians.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and all of humanity, the rest of the Elixni, etc. And instead, what you get is one of the best images of the entire series, of it leaving Earth's atmosphere and going up in basically into orbit around it to meet the Warsat network. And as Aramis thinks she wins and fires everything off, Rasputin overrides it and destroys the entire Warsat network. The image that we get of the Traveler, though, how it spins around, goes into that original Destiny teaser image that we got so many years ago.
I know. That's where I started to be like...
That was the moment where I teared up.
Yeah.
For everything to come full circle 10, 11 years after we saw that image for the very first time.
Yeah.
That held a lot of significance, I think, for those of us who have followed this game since the rumors started flying around. I mean, the first time we ever saw the Traveler above the Earth image was in ODST.
Yeah, in that little like side pocket area.
The little ODST Easter egg, like at the beginning of the game. Yeah. Destiny awaits, and you saw the Earth and you saw the little Traveler up there. And that's been a constant image that we've had ever since.
So cool. That's such a... Oh, man.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And it, as we see in the ViDoc, very clearly sets up for the opening stages of Lightfall, because the Pyramid Fleet is here. That's the thing we end on, is the witness kind of telling Aramis, like, don't worry about it. It has nowhere to go. We can still destroy it, essentially. We've coaxed it out of hiding, finally. And Anna weeping over Rasputin, and Elsie is there with her. Yeah, we get another touching moment between the Bray sisters. Crow, seeing that the Traveler didn't leave and isn't destroyed, leaves satisfied, throws his hood up and walks away. Zavala and Ikora are pretty defeated in the dialogue you get afterwards when you're reading it. Ikora's talking to you like you're going into the final dungeon of a JRPG. Go spend time with your friends while you can.
Right.
Strengthen your bonds of friendship. Who knows if you'll get another chance.
It reminds me of the end of Mass Effect 3, honestly, when you're just like walking around this.
It's the end of fucking Mass Effect 3. It's the end of Persona 5. It's basically insert super long RPG here.
Right.
Like the point of no return. And that is kind of where we are. We're in the final act now. Like, the final act isn't the final shape. The final act starts now. It really started with Witch Queen, probably. But if you had any doubts that we were in the end game, it's here.
Yeah, and the big the beginning of the end mantra doesn't give it away either.
No, and I think it's very funny that they're doing the beginning of the end now, when, again, I think you can make the case it started with the Witch Queen.
Yeah.
The appearance of Rolf changes everything for this franchise. Just saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that just, God, what a fucking wild shot of all those pyramid ships around. I'm saying Mars. I think is where they are. With Callus's flagship square in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
That just absolutely monstrous ship.
Yeah, it's big. And
I
that,
would also be remiss if we didn't mention the other party that we see watching this, and that is Keitel and Lord Saladin.
yeah.
Saladin looks kind of normal sized compared to her.
Well,
I was a little
yeah, but
surprised by that, but also like
she's huge
Keitel.
though.
Keitel also is like, oh shit! Like she basically has chisels on her face, like, oh shit, what is happening? Saladin looks completely broken. He looks. That man looks like he has visibly aged in the last year
Yeah.
since becoming Brachus Forge.
It's all that training.
Oh my god, dude! It's all that fucking Iron Banner. He too had to grind out for that chainmail shader this season.
Right.
So
Jeez.
in the hierarchy of missions that end the year, we've had 3 of them now.
Yeah.
We've had the Traveler Reawakening, so we had the event inside the city. We had the Exorcism, and now we have this. I think they're 3 for 3. They've gotten better every year.
Yeah.
Like this is how I want an end of the year event to happen, because I mean it's always our Guardian that's at the center of it.
Yeah.
And I think that it works better server load wise if you just have us do it ourselves. There's no matchmaking involved here. You could go in with friends, you could do it cooperatively, but they had to join you in the helm. It wasn't like any of this, oh, I'll just join you once you're there. No, you had to join them in the helm.
Yeah.
And everyone had to be on the same step to do it.
Yeah.
I think that was a very smart idea, and it was a reward for players who had already done the storyline for the season. If not, it was go finish it. Go finish the season up.
Yeah.
Our friend Ray wasn't able to join me because he's still got another 2 weeks of the story to finish.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I know what you're doing this weekend, and then we'll go run the mission, because I don't know if it did this for everyone. Did it default put you on legend mode?
I think it did.
Because that, man, and it caps you at 1350 because they clearly intend for everyone to get to do this.
Yeah. I
Just,
think if you finished the season, they start you in legend from what I saw.
Okay.
But if you didn't, there's like the press left trigger on Xbox to like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the extra challenge personally.
It was hard. I didn't even realize it until I was like in the mission, to be honest.
I saw it when I was loading in, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this on Legend. Am I going to get something special for this? I did not get anything special for it. Can confirm.
You got the ship though, right?
I did get the ship. Everybody gets the ship.
It's a cool ship.
It's a cool ship. I have it equipped. I had to put it on. I finally took off my Solstice ship from like 3 years ago.
Dude, I have the Black Armory ship still equipped because I hate all the ships.
I think this was a really, really, really well done end of the year event, though. Like this is what we should get at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Leading into a new expansion. Like this was a great coda to the events of the Witch Queen. So we started out dealing with one sister, and now we're ending it dealing with another, dealing with an old foe in Aramis. Man, just
bravo. It's coming together, man.
Bravo. And I want to note the production timeline on this mission also. One of the she's not a game director, but she's one of the like I don't know, like studio producers who works there. She tweeted out that her first day at Bungie this time last year, this was the first thing that they showed her was the end of season event. So they already had this planned. They have like this cutscene was in the works for well over a year. Like she basically said, yeah, like I got to see the cutscene this time last year, like in progress.
Yeah.
So that kind of confirms like a little bit of how we think about the seasons, like how far in advance they're working on them. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about seasons with the state of the game here in just a second, but I think it's important to understand that, like, no, they're not making changes to the story based on our reactions. They already have this stuff planned out, like, probably 18 months in advance is probably when they start brainstorming. Like, they are probably already talking about and planning out the seasons for post-final shape right now.
Oh, yeah.
Story-wise. Like
hmm
they have to figure out how to bridge the gap from final shape to whatever's next.
Yeah.
So like that's already being done, and I think that does fuel my theory a little bit that Seraph Shield was supposed to be a dungeon. It really feels like this was supposed to be a dungeon, but I'm glad that it's not actually going away. The mini funeral I almost had last week for it was all for naught.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It
all
was.
good, but do we have any final thoughts on the abhorrent imperative, on the death of Rasputin? Um,
I mean, I don't really have anything that we didn't already say. I just,
yeah,
it was just,
it's
man,
pretty
that cutscene.
straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, that cutscene, I feel like was just like a love letter to everybody
I've
who's
I've
played
watched it
since the
at
beginning.
least 6 times.
Yeah, it's just a love letter to everybody who has played since the beginning,
Yeah,
and this is the culmination of everything, all the pain of vanilla D1, all of the
yeah.
complaining about Crota's end, all the suffering through Skolas, and then Prison of Elders, and the highs of taking King, and then the lows of D2 launch, and it's just
Oh
like,
my god,
man,
yeah.
this
Like
whole
the
thing.
War Mind. I mean, so many of the lowest points in this game, Rasputin has been a part of.
Yeah,
And it's funny because like you said, he's in Vanilla D1. He's a big part of the first act of that game.
I mean, in that in that second mission, you literally go off to that side pond area where you load into the Cosmodrome to check on a Warsat, right? I mean, that's
Yeah,
literally like the
it's the
second thing you
it's
do.
yeah, it's the second public event you're ever introduced to besides the Spider Walker. You have that. You have Fallen Saber is an iconic strike for this game. I feel for this series. There's a reason why it was brought back for D2.
Yeah,
But even in D2, like, because they kind of left Rasputin alone after that strike, D2, the woes of the D2 launch and Curse of Osiris, Warmind was seen as kind of the beginning of the turning point. Still not
yeah,
like amazing, but definitely better than Curse of Osiris and like vanilla D2.
right.
You have another weak point with Season of the Worthy, which I think truly outside of Curse of Osiris is the lowest point of the entire franchise.
hmm
And the singular season that caused them to rethink how they were going to do seasons going forward. Like, if that season wasn't so bad, you don't get chosen. You don't get
hmm
chosen in Splicer, honestly. Like Luke Smith even described it back in the day that thank God people liked Arrivals because they already had Arrivals locked and loaded. There was nothing they could do to change it. It was another public event season. You have that, and it's so fitting that Rasputin is part of so many of the shittiest add-ons in Destiny, and then Seraph ends as arguably a top 5 season.
hmm
Like it's up there with Chosen and Splice. It's the only one from this year that belongs in the same conversation with Chosen, Splicer, and Arrivals, as far as I'm concerned. Just everything. From loot to encounters to story to Seraph Shield, like it's all there. It's all there. It's all great.
hmm
And if I could offer one final piece, like glimmering piece of hope for everyone out there who is like, Rasputin's gone forever, I would remind you that remember part of Rasputin's code used to be in an exo as Fellwinter.
hmm Yeah, I was gonna
And
bring that up,
we
but
retrieved Fellspring this season from the Iron Temple. Rasputin, in his final act of sacrifice, embodies everything that a guardian is supposed to.
yeah,
I've seen a lot of people reciting, the guardian mantra and whatnot, and that's not an explicit, like qualification to be a guardian, as we've seen, Savathun and the Hive were given the light as well. Um, but it's usually a good guideline,
yeah,
and I wouldn't rule out seeing Fellwinter come back, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I think that undercuts the sacrifice. If it
hmm
happens, I could see it being like in the post final shape seasons. Or if
hmm
there's this, I mean, my other theory is that the season when they bring back Wrath of the Machine is when you would see Fellwinter, because
yeah,
Fellwinter is so tied to the Iron Lords, obviously.
yeah. I was really thinking about that too. Like if they're gonna tie Wrath of the Machine into some sort of story beat,
Hmm.
like that would be it, right?
Yeah,
So.
But that is speculation for another day. We have a lot more. We have a lot more to talk about.
We don't have time for story speculation
We
today,
do not have
boys
time for story speculation
and
today.
ladies.
We have a 5,000 plus word state of the game here, Corey.
5,300 words.
5,300 words. This also confirmed something for me, by the way. I had to go do a little bit of research on this. For a while, we were hearing that Joe Blackburn and Justin Sherman were both game directors on Destiny 2. At some point, they basically gave Justin Mark Noseworthy's old job. He's now the chief development officer of the franchise, or of Destiny 2. So Joe, it seems like, is the full game director himself. So, and today's ViDoc also kind of confirmed that, because I don't think Justin was in it at all today.
Yeah,
I actually went and did a Google to make sure that he hadn't left Bungie, because that would be a big loss. He's been there since the beginning of Destiny.
Who's the woman that's like what is she, like the expansion lead or something? The kind of like she had an accent. I forget what her name is.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
I have to look it up because it's bothering me.
She was the one that I was referencing earlier. I can't remember her name. I feel very bad. But she was the one who was tweeting out saying that, my very first day at Bungie, I got to see the work on this season's ending mission and cinematic.
Yeah.
So like, damn, what a fucking way to come in. All right. Let's do it.
So
we're gonna.
I'm just gonna blurt out her name if I find it.
Okay. We're gonna start on this because there's so much. We're gonna skip a lot of the preamble and the intro and this and that. It's kind of recapping the year. Joe lays out 4 key objectives they have leading up to the final shape, which is to expand player imagination, bring challenge back to Destiny, enrich the content, and connect Guardians.
Katarina Macedo is her name.
Okay, that's who I thought. She used to be at Xbox. Actually, she used to be at Xbox and at Riot, I believe,
and Riot also.
Yeah. So hey, another nice little connection there with the new PvP game director.
Yeah,
being from Valorant. So let's jump into the nitty gritty right here, because they did something that we haven't had in a long time. We got not just one, we got two seasons announced right off the bat here. So this first one, Lightfall, is launching alongside Season of the Defiance, and most of this content was wrapped up before the new goals were put into place. The new goal that they're talking about is that they basically want to evolve the seasonal structure. They feel it's gotten stale and stagnant, and I think we would all agree with that.
Yeah.
With vendor upgrades and whatnot. We still have numerous quality of life changes along with substantial iterations to our current model coming to shake things up, starting with reducing complexity with the progression system. This means fewer currencies to earn. We are doing away with Umbral Engrams and Umbral Energy. Can we get a hallelujah in the chat?
Can I get an amen? Nah.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, dude. I feel like Joe was taking me to church at this point.
Yeah.
That is the best news possible. You guys have heard me gripe about our experiences with Haunted.
God.
It will finish as the only season where I could not craft all the weapons. I'm still gonna be missing like 3 or 4 patterns, and I played so much of that season.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, good season.
Good season story-wise, shitty content-wise.
To me, I think for me, Season of the Haunted, in terms of the season as a whole, aside from story, was the worst.
Yeah, but that's for next week. If you want to, we're doing away with Umbrals and Umbral Energy. So after you've unlocked seasonal focusing, if you want to focus an Engram into a particular seasonal weapon or armor, all you need is Glimmer and an Engram. Additional seasonal engrams will be stored and tracked on a seasonal vendor, so managing the engram bucket in your character's inventory will be much easier than it is today. Thank fucking God. This has been awful. It's been awful. Having to balance my primes and my umbrals is just awful. I hate it so much.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, umbrals were such a good idea at the beginning, but then they just started adding on, and then the
they
focusing
became
and everything.
This year with the addition of crafting, they just became something that was unsustainable.
Yeah.
We won't be asking you to hold large stacks of seasonal currency to unlock a chest at the end of every activity. Instead, we will be dropping keys throughout your playtime that allow you to extract better rewards from the chest at the end of a seasonal activity. It creates a simpler relationship where you know that if you have even one key, you're getting better rewards.
Mm-hmm.
It also represents repositioning of these chests as true bonuses, not requirements. Unlike today's currencies, keys won't drop every time you complete an activity. To compensate for the change, we've made the base rewards for each activity completion better, so when you earn and spend a key, it's a meaningful bonus, not a requirement to engage in the playlist. Finally, by default, keys can drop from seasonal activities, which means you are no longer required to play content outside of the seasonal playlist to chase seasonal rewards. So I want to address this real quickly. Like, I've seen a lot of the complaints about having to play things outside the playlist. I don't get that. I don't get that complaint because we kind of had it both ways this year, right?
Yeah.
I have been able to earn currency for Risen by playing any activity or doing stuff in the Throne World.
Right.
Haunted, I could only earn that by doing shit on the Leviathan, by doing the stupid derelict Leviathan event. Plunder, I could earn from anywhere. I could earn Umbral energy from anywhere, but it just went quicker if I did plunder activities.
Right.
Same with Seraph. If these are true, if these are meant to be true bonuses, I'm okay with them only dropping from seasonal content. But I really hope that like getting, I don't know, getting like guaranteed drops isn't going to be tied to the chests. I know that Joe's implying that that's not happening here, but that is my irrational fear.
Yeah.
Years of Destiny content has made me apprehensive at best about this. Because I mean, the point is like, yeah, you want people to engage with the seasonal activities, but you want them to play what they want to play. That's the whole thing about Destiny: is play what you want to play. I would like to be rewarded for the content I'm playing, no matter what.
Right.
I would like for there to be a better chance at keys dropping in the seasonal playlist, but that should not be the only place they drop. I'm sorry, after I've done the event 25 times, I'm done.
Right.
I'm done. I don't want to do any more of these.
Right.
It's not fun for me. Give me like, I mean, give me, I don't know, like a 60-70% chance of dropping a key in one of those, and give me like a 25% chance in a different playlist, like in Vanguard Ops or in Crucible, or like give me a chance for a key to drop, and I'm sure it'll be a vendor upgrade, right?
Oh yeah.
So give me one at the end of a dungeon or at the end of a raid or something.
Right.
Because on top of these changes, players can expect fewer vendor upgrades, with each individual upgrade being more potent, and some upgrades even offering a variance on the way you interact with the seasonal activity. We've also taken a stab at the way we name our various progression systems and currencies. We want any player to read the name of something and immediately understand what it does. In short, to spend more time playing and less time trying to understand what they're supposed to do. Thank God, because it's been awful. Let's talk this image real fast that we
Yes.
get here. We know now, Fanbyte and GameSpot and a few others posted previews today of the season of Defiance. They got a Lightfall preview and they got a Defiance preview. This is Marasov, and this is clearly taking place in the EDZ on Earth. The armor is Techian themed.
Yeah.
This is the seasonal armor. I do believe we got a peek at the ornaments today as well. So that's all cool. The returning NPCs, though. So here's the seasonal NPCs. This is truly an inspiring band of characters. Petravenge, Mithrax, and Devrim K.
I mean, he's just hanging out in the church, so I mean,
Devrim has not had new dialogue since Vanilla Destiny 2. Devrim will get a bigger part in this story than fucking Hawthorne, who lives in the tower.
good.
I mean, cooler. Great. Literally, Devrim's only contribution to the storyline since then has been having tea with Saint a couple of times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you think they're bringing him back because he's friends with Saint?
I mean, it's entirely possible. It's very funny. So I think all these changes are good. I like the premise of this. The premise of the season is that we're liberating prisoners, human and Elixni prisoners from Callus's Shadow Legion. We're taking the fight to them on Earth. So basically, I think this is like supposed to run kind of like Risen did. It's kind of supposed to run concurrently.
Yeah.
We're fighting them on Earth here, whereas we go with Keitel to Niamuna during the campaign. So that's really cool. In the seasons to come, now this got me pumped.
Yeah.
After Season of Defiance, we head into Season of the Deep.
Ooh, Season of the Deep.
Season of the Deep. So I want to talk about that name for a brief second. I see a lot of people going, "Oh my god, it's going to be a Hive Worm God season." And, well, that's not the only time that we hear deep. Remember what Rolk says during his boss battle and during the Vow of the Disciple raid. He keeps saying, "You will drown in the deep."
Yeah.
I think this is a Disciple season,
Ooh.
but I would not rule out a Hive God showing up either. Because remember, we all laughed about Zol. We're like, "Oh, that's a Hive God." Well, he's the weakest of the Worm Gods, so I would like to see us fight a real Worm God in this season's dungeon.
Right. I mean, isn't the Hive planet? Isn't there like a
Fundament.
worm god hiding
Well,
out down
that's
there?
where they come. Yeah, the Worm Gods were in
Yeah. Well,
we're in the depths of Fundament. We're not going to Fundament,
why
but
not?
dude,
What if
there's no
that's
way,
the big
dude.
surprise this season
If we go to
or
fucking
this
Fundament, I will.
expansion?
I don't know. I'll like eat my collector's edition. I don't know.
No, don't do that. That puka's huge. You'll it'll
Like,
hurt
dude,
coming out.
that I don't think Fundament is in the Milky Way.
Doesn't
Like,
matter.
I'm pretty certain it's. I don't think we're going there this time. I think in the next Destiny game we go there, but I don't think now. But all that aside, with some time under our belt to react to recent player feedback, Season of the Deep and the following season will not feature a vendor upgrade paradigm.
Hmm.
I love it. I love it so much. I'm so excited for this.
You should see the smile on Josh's face.
I
He's smiling so wide his eyes are closed.
I love this so much because I'm so tired of having to do 14 exactly 14 upgrades, 14 to 21 upgrades, excuse me, every single season. And being basically locked out of them until like the last couple weeks of the season, having to do so many challenges to just unlock the bonuses.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fair.
so happy that that is going to be gone for these two seasons. And it does say here, this does not mean players will never see a vendor upgrade system again, but instead means we want to create more varied experimental frameworks and slowly create a wide array of different systems for players to show their investment in the seasonal content. This variety also extends into the type of content players experience in moment-to-moment gameplay of our later seasons. In both Season of the Deep and Season 22, the team is pushing the envelope to create more fresh activity experiences like when we first unveiled the Shattered Realm or debuted Battlegrounds. One thing we want to continue from last year is casting a wide net when it comes to themes and fantasies our players can expect with each release. Lightfall has a very different tone and setting from Witch Queen, and we want to continue this in our seasonal content. From Reapers to Pirates to Cowboys, last year's seasons proved Destiny 2 can encompass experiences that contain wildly varied inspirations, and we are committed to the Adventures Lightfall's collection of seasons feeling just as thematically fresh from one another as they did last year. Stories, progressions, and themes aren't the only way we think we can stretch the player imagination space. Some of this is going to come from putting new systems into Destiny 2 or revisiting systems that aren't quite hitting the mark. And part of what they're going to do is Guardian ranks and build crafting with loadouts.
Right.
And, they don't go into any of that here. But that's an idea of some of the stuff they want to do. Guardian ranks aim to be effortless way Guardians share their place in their journey with one another. No longer will the number next to your nameplate be a representation of how much you've grinded the season pass. Instead, it's a representation of our experience as a Guardian and the challenges you faced and overcome. So, seasons were due for a huge overhaul. We've
Right.
griped about it a lot. I mean, I think that's been one of the recurring themes this year, really since Haunted began.
Yeah.
I think the exasperation was already being felt. We kind of excused it with Witch Queen a little bit because it was such a good expansion and there was so much to do.
Right.
And the season was fairly short. I mean, it was like what, 4 or 5 weeks of story. It was perfect.
Yeah. Plus, like, I mean, what was the first season? Risen
Mm-hmm.
it was really good. Like the weapons were good. I actually really liked that season
It
a
was good. It
lot.
was the second best season of the year.
Yeah.
Certainly the best we've had with a release. But I think them changing this, especially, I mean, I think even just like changing up how you're gonna interact with the content through vendors, that changing is huge and significant. They're not being Umbral energies or multiple currencies. Like, I hate having to explain to people who have sat out Destiny for like 6 months and be like, okay, well, you want to come engage with the content, you gotta have Umbral energy. Well, I have Umbral energy. No, you have Risen energy. You need Seraph energy, or you need
Right.
Haunted energy, and you got to grind a whole bunch of shit you don't care about just to get a drop of a weapon you might use a couple of times.
Oh my gosh, it was awful.
My biggest problem with seasons, and this is something it's not addressed here, I don't believe it's addressed in the weapon crafting blog either, is still how does everybody get the weapon blueprints for crafting for weapons that are being taken out of the game with these seasons?
I mean, maybe they aren't putting them in yet. Maybe they want you to play with the new stuff.
Well, I think that's really frustrating though. If you sat out, because that's the majority of the weapons you can craft right now are the seasonal suites. It's seasonal weapons and raid weapons essentially is all it is.
I wonder if there's going to be some sort of like, there's got to be some sort of vendor system or like,
They got to give something to Ada to do now that she's not selling mods.
yeah, that's true.
We've kicked around Arms Day coming back, like Zur even selling some, or Rahul. Like somebody's got to sell these blueprints.
I bet Ada does, especially with her like with the black armory and stuff like that. Makes the most sense.
It really does.
I mean, who's the vendor? Who's the vendor on Mars? I mean, at the outpost or whatever.
At the relic.
Yeah, there
is
a
relic.
One. Yeah,
there's no vendor.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they could go through and like auto unlock. I don't know. I have no idea.
No, or you could buy them from the kiosk and they're just expensive. I don't know. I mean, you're already taking seven engrams.
They're changing the path for these. That's the kind of why I'm bringing it up now is because we're going to get into weapon crafting, but it's still frustrating. We have a whole weapons preview coming up, so we're gonna save weapon changes for that. That's the next post that we're gonna talk about after this. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna skip past this to something that we've discussed often, both in a positive and a negative light. Bringing challenge back to Destiny. All right. The first step in that is tuning abilities. I'm very excited. Very excited for tuning abilities. If we just tuned up our enemies across the game, we would start to encounter issues where combatants frequently one-shot players and would feel super spongy. As a result, even more relaxing content will require players to conform to the most meta Guardian loadout. On the other hand, if we were to only tune the player's efficiency, the RPG elements would start to feel like they matter less, and Destiny might start to lose its essential fantasy of being this powerful battle wizard in space. So we're going to take measured approaches to the player's toolkit and strengthen our monsters. We'll start with the toolkit. Across both PvE and PvP, we believe abilities dominate too many engagements due to potency, which we don't want to nerf, and uptime, which we do want to tackle. So starting with Lightfall, we are moderately increasing ability recharge time across a wide selection of our abilities, as talked about last week. We did discuss this on last week's episode, episode 130, we talked about this. We also noticed enemy combatants aren't just hitting as hard as we want them to, especially against max resilience guardians, so we're adjusting the amount of damage resistance granted by resilience and increasing the energy cost of resilience mods from 1 to 2 for minor mods and 3 to 4 for major mods. With the build crafting updates in Lightfall, we believe great builds will be more accessible to the community. We still want your gear and mods to be critical. Some of the buffs to Guardian's damage and survivability were just a bit too strong in the old system. Those last paragraphs may have been scary to read, but we don't think these changes are going to be a big swing of the balance pendulum. More than anything, this is about reining in some unintentional power creep that we saw over the last year. Committed as always to making your Guardian feel like the ultimate monster-killing machine, and I'm confident with Strand, our new build crafting updates, and a suite of new weapons coming in Lightfall, you will all be making us all and Shaq's very proud. But here we go. Here's the big one, because we're fine with the ability changes. We discussed them last week. We're by and large fine with it. There's overshields were super potent.
Mm-hmm.
Dodges had been nerfed in an incorrect, horrible way, etc. Recently, we've been happy with the level of challenge present in the base Heist Battlegrounds playlist. To achieve this, we use the difficulty knob that enforces just how overleveled we will let players be compared to the enemies they are fighting. This knob has always been present across our activities, and it's adjusted based on how evergreen we want the challenge to be in those missions. We were pretty aggressive with this adjustment in Season of the Seraph, and it produced great results. So the base Battlegrounds playlist in Season of Defiance will use the same thing. Carrying the approach over, we're also going to be adjusting the same difficulty tweak on the Vanguard Ops playlist. We aren't going to set this playlist knob to a level quite as intense as Battlegrounds, but we do want to use this setting to make Vanguard Ops a lot more engaging to the average Guardian starting in Lightfall. This approach to power and difficulty is also going to be present when players are roaming around Neomuna, and we don't want the entire game to feel like it's tuned up to 11. We think these changes will help the enemy forces patrolling Neomuna feel dangerous and worth the attention. You may have noticed we've been experimenting a lot with our power settings over the last few seasons. We are planning on taking them on even more experiments this year. We think there are some major issues with power in Destiny 2 and how it prevents players from seeing some of our best content. So we'd like to make a big change to the system in the final shape. However, to understand more about how our changes can be improved, we want to keep tweaking power settings over the year of Lightfall. Some of these tweaks may be found in our backend with little transparency to the average Guardian, while others will be front and center. For example, when Lightfall launches, we will have a power climb that is very similar to the Witch Queen, but in Season of the Deep, we don't plan to raise the power or pinnacle cap at all. Thank you, God. I'm so over this. Like we've joked about this. This is the first season where I have not bothered to hit the pinnacle cap. I didn't need to.
Yeah.
I didn't need to. I didn't feel the need to. I didn't need it for the content. The content was capping me anyways.
Yeah.
So why kill myself hitting the pinnacle cap? Outside of trials and comp, you don't really need it.
Do you think this is the start of them getting rid of power levels?
Yes.
At some point?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
I wonder if they like want to do it. They just don't know the best way to do it yet, or
that's
it's something
exactly
they can't
how
implement.
this reads to me. That's exactly
or it's something they can't implement until final shape or something.
I mean, I think they want to take the year to gather data and make sure they're doing the right thing before they make a massive change to the game.
Right.
Because this will be a huge change when it happens. But this is something, I mean, we heard about this in the paste bin almost 2 years ago now.
Right.
For the Witch Queen. I mean, it was a couple years ago, April 2021, I think, is when we first started hearing the whispers that they were looking to get rid of power levels altogether.
Right.
So they've been playing with this for a while, and I think that this is a good first step to not have a new power or pinnacle cap. Yeah. I like that. I think that'll make the seasonal content more engaging too for those who just played the expansion and then dipped.
Yeah.
So I like that. I'm big fan here. Big fan.
Yeah, this is exciting.
That's very exciting. Now let's talk about something that's not as exciting, and that's the Crucible updates here.
Definitely Fiery Crucible, you say?
Fiery Crucible. It's not what I was hoping for. I'm happy that they even acknowledged Crucible's existence, but this update has been and will continue to be great for PvE players. PvP players, not so much. I didn't hate the PvP updates here, but they definitely needed to do a lot more. And this is the definition of doing bare minimum, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the good, though. Let's talk about the good first.
Wait, you don't want to read that? You don't want to read the bit about shoot, I lost it. The bit about where they say let's see. The Crucible player versus player combat is here to stay in Destiny 2, as we think it is one of the most inherently replayable parts of the Destiny experience.
I mean, I don't disagree with that statement at all.
I know, but it's just like,
but I think that, and that's the thing, like about PvP. Like, I think it's a philosophy in a Bungie game is PvP is so important to Bungie as a company because let's face it, like Halo had an awesome story. PvP is what made it legendary, though.
Right. But also at this point, they've been away from Halo for so long. Like, how many people that play Destiny only experienced Halo through like the Master Chief Collection?
It's true, and I'm not discounting that. I think Crucible is still such a thing that can be so special in Destiny, but through no fault of its own, has become almost unplayable at times because abilities have evolved so much. Subclass 3.0, Stasis. Right. Strand is surely going to throw another wrench into it. Our weapons have gotten more and more powerful. I mean, we have things like Volt Shot and Volatile rounds now, right?
Yeah.
Things that I think in the past would have been exotic perks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are now on craftable weapons. Mm-hmm. So it's a tricky balance to walk, and I really think that like with how minimalistic they're going here in the state of the game, it really feels like they're getting ready to peel Crucible off into its own game, which I would welcome. Yeah, with open arms, so they can just let you go crazy with the power fantasy here, and then rein it in a bit.
We talked about that at the
we've talked about this at length.
Yeah,
but we've had multiple episodes in the past on it. We talked about a possible hero shooter. There's a lot of things you can do here for Destiny PvP, and none of those things is what Bungie is doing in this post. Not a goddamn thing. So again, I'm going to start with some positives here. In Season of Defiance, we're looking at getting Countdown back into the game along with a respawn variant of the game mode we call Countdown Rush, where players must detonate or defuse both bombs on the map before the round ends. We also aim to run a series of Crucible labs, including a mode where the player's sandbox is dramatically changed. Weapon damage, ability uptime, and even ammo are all adjusted in a new mode tentatively titled Checkmate Control. This mode will reward players who use their smarts and their skills, so if the only way the enemy has been able to shut you down in the past is a solo blade barrage, they might be in trouble. This isn't all we have planned for modes, so keep your eyes on labs for more classic and all new modes this year. This is a good change. This is the kind of stuff we want to see.
Yep.
Checkmate Control sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool, actually.
I'm here for it. I'm totally here for it. I have long wanted a mode where abilities are super reined in.
Yeah.
And this sounds exactly like what I want, with like changed ability uptimes, respawn timers, etc. I really, really am looking forward to this. A lot of people are going to hate this mode. I think that if you're looking for a more traditional PvP experience, this is what you're going to like.
Yeah.
Are you tired of dying to ability spam? This is the mode for you. But it's encouraging that they are planning to run out more classic and brand new modes. And they say they were encouraged by the response to we're going to ignore Rift, Eruption and Fortress. So I really hope that Eruption and Fortress make their way into the core playlist this year.
Yeah.
I want to see those as rotators, or bring them back as Iron Banner modes. If those were the 2 Iron Banner modes for this year, I would not complain.
Yeah.
I don't want Rift back in Iron Banner.
No. Nope.
I
actually really like turning my opinion around on Fortress.
I love Fortress. I think Fortress was a lot of fun. I think it was poor that, again, ability uptime was a big problem, but also they encourage you to use only Stasis and Void. That was a problem. It needs to be like,
oh yeah, the amount
Stasis and Arc or Stasis and Solar or something.
The amount of Titan bubbles in there, man, like
it's insane. I mean, it was a guaranteed point cap if you had a Titan bubble. So
yeah.
Now
or 6, like we had one time.
Let's talk about the not so good, because they immediately do that, and then we go into this. We think a steady stream of novel game modes and reining in of player power is going to do a lot for the health of the PvP ecosystem, but we're still committed to keeping true to our Crucible maps plan, which means the arrival of Meltdown in Season of the Deep, a brand new Vex Network map in Season 22. It only took us 2.5 years to get this, after requesting it, by the way. And the return of Citadel in the last season before the final shape. Citadel is the awesome Dreaming City map.
Yeah.
I love that map. Worth noting, we're getting that back, but we're not getting the Dreaming City Gambit map back.
Well, maybe they're just like, nobody's playing Gambit anyway.
Oh my god, dude, that's a whole nother topic for the end of this. We'll also be looking at our existing maps and doing a spawn retuning pass on many of them this year to improve how our various modes flow. This, I'm going to echo what I said this time last year, and what I said the year before, and probably what I was thinking the year before that, before we even started this show. This is unacceptable. To have...
That needs to be a new shirt in the store, by the way. This is unacceptable.
This is unacceptable. Yeah, it's just... I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this without, like, being an asshole. But one new map a year is horseshit.
I mean, look at all the crap Halo's getting for that, right? And
look at all the crap Halo is getting, and I feel like, and I seriously want to look at them and they're like, oh, we only have gotten a handful of new maps since the game came out a year ago. And it's like, guys, we've been begging for like 3 or 4 years now. Like, there was an expansion on the moon that came out in 2019. Have we gotten a new map on the moon? Have we gotten a Gambit map on the moon? Let's start there. The last time Gambit got a fucking map was early 2019.
Yeah.
The last time that we got, I mean, there was like a 2-3 year wait between Crucible maps until we got Disjunction.
Right.
And it's fucking Disjunction on top of that. Like, I don't know. I'm very upset about this. I will say Meltdown coming back and Citadel coming back. 2 great maps to be coming back, by the way. 2 of my favorite maps in Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Very happy they're both coming back, but it simply is unacceptable. Like we've heard in the past, yeah, putting maps back in basically means we have to rebuild everything. Like, I get that. I want to know why the team making the maps is so small at this point, though. I want to, and I don't want to be mean about it. Maybe you guys maybe some of that Sony money needs to be taken now that you're fully under the umbrella and have been for about 8 months. Maybe, Joe and Justin and, Luke and Mark and whoever else need to go have a chat with Herman Holst and be like, hey man, we need that Sony support studio that backs up like Naughty Dog and Santa Monica and stuff. We need like 100 of them to come build maps.
Yeah.
We need them to just literally, they just need to remake our Destiny 2 maps so we can shove them all back in the game and into the rotation. So that our current map makers can make just brand new shit. I'm going to continue my conspiracy theory that they're absolutely separating these into 2 separate games, and that's why we're getting bare minimum support here.
I mean, they have to, right?
They have to be. They have to be. But even if they are, that's not remotely close to, and I know you're not trying to use this, that's not remotely close to an excuse.
Yeah.
If that's what it is, I would rather you just come out and say it, because then at least we know that, hey, you basically do not see it as a priority. I am all for new modes. I'm very happy for new modes. I'm so goddamn sick of some of these maps, though. Like, the one on Nessus, that's the exact same as Shores of Time from Destiny 1. I've been playing this map for 9 years, Corey. 9 years. It was in the first beta for Destiny 1, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I know. I was there.
I'm so tired of this map. I know exactly how to cap B. I know exactly where to snipe you from. Nothing has changed since that day in July 2014. Nothing has changed.
Well, we've gotten older.
We've gotten older. I clearly have arthritis in my left leg. I have gray in my hair, and I definitely think I depend more on caffeine and alcohol.
I lost all my hair. That's why I wear a hat.
It's just like,
for you guys watching the video version, there you go. Okay,
man, they got to do something here. We got to have something. Returning maps are fine. You picked 2 great maps to bring back, by the way.
Yeah,
2 fantastic maps. Very happy about them. Less jazzed to play Fortress, or is it Fortress? No, it's Meltdown. Less jazzed to play fucking Meltdown in Trials. But 2 great maps to bring back.
Yeah.
All right. Well, while we got the bad news, let's continue going. In matchmaking, we still don't feel we've nailed the trade-off between fair matches and good connections. We still need to get features like dynamic skill ranges in-game to allow for players across all skill levels to consistently high-quality connections in their matches. We're turning our eyes to lobby balancing, where we aim to construct matches with a more consistent skill spread across players on both teams. We also want to continue to zoom out and make sure that we're upgrading the meta systems to encourage folks to play PvP. Now, this is an encouraging paragraph to me. Think of this like the Iron Banner revamp, our recent increases to Iron Banner rep, and our commitment to having 3 Iron Banners per season this year. While we haven't settled on the final details, we are currently looking at the rewards and matchmaking structures of Trials of Osiris, and would like to push more updates to that mode this year in order to more consistently keep the population at healthier levels. And in competitive, we want to improve the speed at which players climb to the rank that most matches their Crucible skill, and ensure it's clear why you won or lost the specific number of ranked points shown after a match. Great. Again, things that we have covered in detail before. You can go back and listen to those. Maybe not the comp stuff. I do aim to talk more about comp here in the next few weeks. I will finally be diving into comp. I wanted to do it this season, just simply did not have the time to get to it. But Dealer and I are going to be running into some comp next season, so I look forward to talking about that.
Cool.
That's it. That we got 4 paragraphs on PvP, Corey.
Yeah. Well,
And one of them was nothing but bad news.
It's yeah,
that frankly unacceptable.
It's pretty bad.
It's not great. Shit's bad. Shit's real bad. But what's not bad?
Not good.
The PvE content keeps on giving.
It's true.
We had to take a break from all the PvE goodness to talk about depressing Crucible for 4 paragraphs. The exotic mission rotator. Oh
This is
man,
cool. This is awesome.
this is
I'm
great.
so glad they're doing this.
Trials won't be the only thing getting love so far as rituals go, so let's start talking about the PvE side of the game. Not like we didn't already do that for like the first 90% of this.
Right.
Over the years, we've added a ton of great exotic missions like Presage and Seraph Shield to Destiny 2. This year, not only will we continue to create new exotic missions, but starting in Season 22. So, not until the third season of this year. So, the season that Wrath of the Machine, fingers crossed, is coming back, is
God, I
when
hope
we
it's
will get
Wrath.
this
I hope
rotator.
it's
So, it's
Wrath.
still a while, it's still a ways out.
I'm still, man. People in the Discord bring it up every once in a while, and they're like, "What if it's Leviathan?" I'm like,
God, if it's fucking Leviathan, I'm quitting. I swear to God.
like, oh my
I
gosh, like,
swear to God. It needs I need it to be Wrath of the
but
Machine for selfish reasons.
they've distinctively said it's a Destiny 1 revised raid, though,
Yeah,
right?
and they've said they can't now. If it is Crota and it's drastically changed, I actually would welcome that. Because Joe has said that's the only way they can bring that back is if they rework the entire raid. I would welcome that, frankly.
Right, and we've talked about them bringing it back as a dungeon too at some point.
Like our Legacy Raid and Dungeon Rotators, the Exotic Mission Rotator will feature exotic missions from the past that rotate on a weekly cadence and offer great rewards for players willing to dive into classic content. In Season 22, it will contain the missions from Seasons 13, 16, and 19, which are Presage, Vox Obscura, and Operation Seraph Shield. With this framework implemented, we hope to use this rotator in the future to continue to bring some of Destiny 2's most classic missions back into the fold. That, to me, screams that I don't know why these aren't in there to start it, but I assume it's because these three are like so recently in the new engine they don't have to remake them.
Right.
Whisper of the Worm and Zero Hour have to be a part of this.
Oh yeah.
I would also say that I think Hawkmoon will be a part of this.
Yeah. I mean that makes sense.
The Hawkmoon quest I feel would be a part of this as well. So,
Yeah.
because if you're going to have Seraph Shield, which is like a 35, 40-minute mission, you can surely put the Hawkmoon mission into.
Yeah.
So, big fan of that. Don't think we really need to dwell on that. Awesome change. One of the highlights of this whole post for me.
Mm-hmm.
We were just bemoaning this last week how badly we needed one of these.
I know. It's so
Another
cool though.
area PvE we think can have a big effect on is the Vanguard rituals. We've already talked about how we are going to be making the Vanguard Ops playlist more engaging by raising the challenge level. But with Lightfall, we are also shaking up some of the activities inside the playlist. This effort will begin with refreshing Lake of Shadows and Arms Dealer Strikes. Both activities have had their objectives and encounters reimagined and upgraded to match the combat engagement levels of some of our more recent strike entries, such as Lightblade and Proving Grounds. Well, that's terrifying to read. No more cheesing those for easy completions. In addition, we are also taking strikes that have not been updated recently, such as Exodus Crash and Inverted Spire, and dramatically reducing their presence in the Vanguard Ops playlist while eliminating them from Nightfall rotations. These strikes will still be available for direct launch, but until they get brought up to the engagement parity with some of our more recent Vanguard content, they will not show up as frequently as part of ritual gameplay.
I'm still gonna load into Exodus down every time. Exodus Crash every time.
Oh my god. I low-key am upset that Inverted Spire won't be there to like run for easy adepts anymore.
Right.
Aside from strikes, we are also going to be upgrading how battlegrounds integrate with the Vanguard Ops. Alongside Lightfall, the Season 16 and 19 battlegrounds will be added to the Vanguard Ops playlist. That's the PsyOps and the heists, in case you're wondering. We like the fast enemy-filled chaos of battlegrounds. This year, we will also be adding a selection of battlegrounds as Nightfalls. This process will begin with the Mars heist battleground being part of the rotation in Season of Defiance. That is the absolute worst one, by the way.
Yep.
So good luck with that opening area if you do this on Grandmaster. Good fucking luck. We're excited to see how players tackle Season of Defiance's first Nightfall rotation, where 4 of the 6 Nightfalls will be new or refreshed content coming to the Grandmaster rotation for the first time. We even expect the older Nightfalls to feel rekindled by new loadout options, since the match game modifier is also being retired from Nightfalls. As we get further away from Lightfall in our seasonal schedule, we're going to make some targeted changes to ritual content based on what we've observed about why players engage in the content. We don't expect these changes to make it in for Season of Defiance. Over time, we want to start pushing both more rewards to ritual content and more options to engage with the content. This will include changes such as moving the initial source of obtaining exotic armor away from lost sectors and back into core rituals. No longer asking players to earn all 3 of the ritual pursuit ornaments and seasonal challenges, and allowing players to earn more new rewards and complete more of their weekly challenges by playing content of their choice, not just the newest season activity playlist. The rebalancing of objectives and rewards is going to be a slow burn over the year. We're going to take a more direct approach in our last season of the year, dedicating a significant amount of development time towards a more core ritual-focused season. While this season will have plenty of new activity and story content, we want to take this time right before final shape to crisp up the core rituals and pursuits as we head into our final expansion of Light and Dark. This last seasonal effort is just now getting underway, so expect more details as we get further into the year. They're already telling us what they're going to do in the final season. In a lot, not obviously not in terms of story, but in terms of content. They are keeping very quiet about that third season, though. That is the only season we don't have any sort of hint as to what's coming. And that feels really deliberate. Like, they've said that they want to be more transparent about some stuff, but they're still going to preserve secrets. I think that season's going to be kept a secret.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it also, I wonder if that season has story spoilers for like the campaign or previous seasons or something that they don't want to. Obviously,
I mean, it could. The third season is traditionally when we start turning towards themes in the next expansion.
right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that was happening again here. And that is the season that we're going to get the reprised raid. So
Yeah.
I imagine they're going to let us, like, okay, you guys already know that raid's coming. Cool.
Man.
Okay, we're almost done. I swear to God, we're almost done here.
We are not almost done.
We are almost done, Corey. I can fly through this. We are almost done. We're almost done with this post, by the way. An hour in, we're almost done with the state
That's
of the
what I'm
game.
saying. That's what I meant. I was like,
thankfully, the other two are not nearly as bad as this. Connecting Guardians. A lot of what we have planned for the year is right around the corner, like commendations and Guardian ranks with the launch of Lightfall. Commendations is the first step in creating stronger connections between Guardians. Commendations are an icebreaker, a simple way of saying thanks to players that you appreciated playing with. Over time, players will accumulate a ton of different commendations to help build a story for how others in Destiny 2 perceive you. Certain commendations like Pacesetter and Saint's Favorite are only available to be given in trials, while others like Perceptive and Knowledgeable are given out in raid and dungeon content. Eventually, the commendations you earn will become a history for where you've been and what you've done. Those at the highest levels of Guardian ranks will have been proven to folks that are consistently appreciated by others in the community. Sometimes it will be because they're the kinds of people willing to do the heavy lifting when organizing a large group of players. Sometimes it will be because even if they aren't the kinds of people comfortable speaking up, they're always doing what needs to be done to help the group overcome the obstacle in front of them. Very, very, very excited for this. I want to see how this goes. It seems like you're only going to be able to give out positive stuff. You can't be like, this guy's a shithead. You can't give that commendation.
Right.
I've definitely had people I've been matched up with that I'd love to give that to, but no, Destiny's a positive place. We're only going to give out positive awards. So curious to see how long it takes for the posts on Twitter and Reddit to start of, can you guys give me commendations so I can get to the highest rank of Guardian ranks?
I'll give you a commendation, Josh.
I hope so. Eventually, we want to change our game-wide text chat channels so you have more frequent opportunities to reach out to a fellow Guardian. Over time, we'd like to continue to invest in deeper chat moderation, better filtering, and bigger features like speech-to-text. We think text chat is a great way for players to communicate with one another at their own pace while still retaining some anonymity. This does not mean text chat is going to become required for Destiny 2. We still plan on allowing anyone inside D2 the ability to avoid text chat entirely, meaning they will never be automatically added to a social text chat. We also plan to allow anyone the option to quickly leave channels on a case-by-case basis if the chat is trending in a way that makes their game experience worse. So I'm interested to see how this goes. Not super jazzed about this, but we'll see.
How many chat apps have you heard? Oh, we're gonna moderate chat better, and then it's just like,
oh, dude, no, nope, not even going there. The last piece of our social puzzle for the year is our biggest, Fire Team Finder. We initially hope to get our take on a first-class in-game LFG tool in players' hands this summer with Season 22 alongside our next reprised raid, making a perfect pairing for new raiders. But as our plans became more solidified, we realized the features needed to create a truly top-notch LFG experience was going to require a bit more time. So while the reprised raid will still come out this summer, we're pushing Fire Team Finder out to our final season of the year alongside a brand new dungeon. We think a truly first-class LFG system won't be perfect till we see how our players can use it, but we want to make sure the initial launch still has a ton of features that will allow you to find a fire team inside of Destiny. Fire Team Finder, you can queue up from anywhere in the game. The ability to tag your post with keywords to describe the kind of group you're running and the kind of people you're looking to recruit. The option to create groups where folks can join automatically. allowing you to get right into the action, and the power to create groups where you as a leader can approve or deny each person trying to join up, giving you tight control over the kind of group you're putting together. That is it for the state of the game. By and large, I feel really confident about a lot of what's here.
Yep.
We've talked about a lot of the good. We talked about some of the bad. The ugly is still we're getting one new PvP map for an entire year. It's unacceptable when you see how many fucking battlegrounds we're getting. This is the 3rd season in 5 seasons we're getting battlegrounds.
Yeah.
That's a little insane.
Look, don't get me wrong. I like battlegrounds.
I do too.
But that's all I have to say. Is but.
I would like to see some of those resources put towards building like more actual strikes.
Yeah.
And we have a question about this later on that we'll get to in questions. About what is something we like to see shadow dropped in Destiny, and my answer is straight up, it's more strikes. I want more things like Proving Grounds to just show up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's it for this post. Thank God.
You feeling all right, Josh? You need another drink? You need a...
I think I'm okay for right now. Thankfully, it's not too much to read through on weapon crafting and Schwab, but it's still enough.
It's fair.
All right. Oh, I'm congested on top of that. Enhancing weapon crafting. Currently, red border deep sight weapons drop far too frequently for weapons to have no pattern available to unlock. Any excitement or relief about obtaining potential pattern progress is diluted by receiving red border weapons which have no capability to be crafted. You can also receive a red border for a weapon you've already unlocked, making it feel like a wasted deep sight. Yep. Looking at you, Season of the Haunted, and the 10 red border Drangs I got.
Oh, what? You don't like Drang?
I like Drang. I crafted it in the first 2 weeks of the season, and I kept getting red borders for that and Callous Mini Tool the entire season. In Lightfall, we're overhauling the deep sight weapon drop behavior. Deep sight attunement objectives are being removed. Holy shit. I'm so excited. So excited. Oh, man.
I can tell.
In Season 18, we added the ability to obtain pattern progress and resonant elements by dismantling a deep sight weapon, bypassing the hard requirement to complete the deep sight objective. In Lightfall, the optional objective will be entirely removed. If you obtain a deep sight weapon and just want the pattern progress, you can dismantle it. If you want pattern progress and also want to keep the deep sight weapon, you'll have the option to immediately obtain the pattern without dismantling the weapon. Deep sight will also no longer drop for any weapon that does not have a pattern available to unlock.
Thank God.
Thank God. When a deep sight weapon drops after the release of Lightfall, it will signify a reward you want to engage with immediately rather than an afterthought you might toss into the vault for later. Deep sight will operate like a checklist. Every red border weapon that drops will be pattern progress that can be earned. So thank God, first off, because that was excruciating the first couple seasons of the year. And then they like immediately did an about face in sometime in the middle of like Haunted. They made a change.
Ugh.
Not Haunted. Plunder. Beginning of Plunder, they made the change. In Lightfall, shaping perks will now require standard currencies, Glimmer, enhancement cores, legendary shards, etc. We've identified a number of problems with the resonant and element economy, including element usage itself is infrequent. The element currency cap is easily bypassed by simply hoarding excess deep sight weapons in the vault. There is a disparity between the haves and have-nots, where hardcore players can have a glut of elements, whereas more casual players are starving for them, as elements are directly tied to weapon acquisition. In addition to those problems, the larger concern is that elements aren't integrated into the broader Destiny economy, and so for Lightfall, we are removing them altogether. The Relic Tether, which will now serve no purpose, will also be removed from your inventory. We will not be making changes to crafting alloys, Resonant, Harmonic, Ascendant, at Lightfall's launch. We are planning to remove Resonant and Harmonic alloys in the following seasons, which those are raid-specific alloys that we have, by the way. There are no significant changes currently being planned for Ascendant alloys, so your crafting golf balls are here to stay for those enhanced perks. I think that's a fair trade-off.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
We'll be adding 3 new crafting capabilities during the Lightfall year: Deep Sight activation, weapon enhancing, and weapon level boosting. Deep sight activation, aka manual deep sight. This feature allows you to electively apply deep sight to a weapon that has a pattern available to unlock. Only weapons that have not previously rolled with deep sight are valid for deep sight activation, and it cannot be activated on the same weapon instance multiple times. So you can't keep using the same SMG, for example, the same roll of that SMG. You would have to get another one that does not have deep sight to apply it.
Right.
Fair trade-off.
Yep.
And it definitely alleviates some of the growing pains that we've seen this year with obtaining some of these patterns. I can't tell you how many non-red border without remorses I got to drop during Haunted.
Yeah.
And I still can't craft it, unfortunately. The ability to manually activate deep sight will be tightly controlled, and there will be some variation in cost depending on the weapon. Example, a raid weapon will require additional currencies compared to a seasonal weapon. Also fair. We're targeting a Season 21 release for this feature, so Season of the Deep. Raid Adept Weapon Enhancing. We want to expand the enhanced trait perk capabilities of crafted weapon over to other weapons without increasing the amount of deep sight you need to acquire. To do this, we will be introducing a new weapon enhancing feature to a very limited number of new weapons. The first weapons to obtain this enhancement capability will be the adept weapons acquired from Master Difficulty Lightfall Raid. The non-adept base raid weapons will remain crafted. Note, Master Raid Adept Enhancing will be introduced a few weeks after the Lightfall Master Raid release. This feature will be backwards compatible with Lightfall Raid Adept weapons you have already acquired, but will not include previous raids. So this will not include like Master Vogue or Vow or anything like that. Weapon Enhancing allows a weapon to be upgraded with enhanced traits, a level, and a memento socket. This upgrade will consume standard currencies and spoils of conquest for raid weapons, and will be applied through a new tiered weapon mod. Once enhanced, you will be able to modify limited aspect of the weapons at the crafting relic. For the initial limited rollout, weapon enhancing will have 3 tiers. Tier 1 replaces the existing masterwork, grants an enhanced intrinsic weapon level, first enhanced timestamp, and memento socket. For raid adepts only, allows full selection over the barrel and magazine perks. These perks are individually gated by level, same as crafted weapons. The cost of weapon enhancing tier 1 will vary based on the masterwork tier that is being replaced. Enhancing a weapon that has a masterwork tier of 10 will be much cheaper than enhancing a weapon with a masterwork tier value of 1. So basically, play with it before you decide if you want to fuck around. Enhancement tier 2, weapon level 11 requirement, allows enhancing of the left column trait perk. Enhancement tier 3, weapon level 17 requirement, allows enhancing of the right column trait perk. The enhancement feature will be added to new raid adepts starting in Lightfall. Due to technical limitations, we will not be committing to a wide expansion of this capability to other weapons until we investigate further. Basically, they don't know if this is going to work.
Right.
And with how spaghetti code this game is, I think they're really leery of a couple of weapons in particular.
Which weapons would those be, Josh?
Fatebringer.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Fatebringer. I'm going to go... Not Trustee. I'm going to go Succession and Heritage from Deepstone.
Yeah.
And then Vow, almost certainly. It's the linear fusion and the fusion rifle itself. I would say those are the ones they're mostly concerned about across these games. Or across these raids.
Yeah.
And then weapon level boosting. There are far more crafted weapons than there are equipment slots to accommodate them, so we're adding another avenue to increase a weapon's level without needing the weapon to be equipped. A new weapon mod will be added that will increase the level of a crafted or enhanced weapon for the cost of standard currencies. While this will not be initially positioned as the only method for leveling up a weapon, it may be convenient for unlocking early perk choices and an outlet for any spare currencies you have stockpiled. We are looking to add this behavior after Season 21. I'm very excited for this because it is a pain in the ass upgrading special and heavy weapons. It can be really bad trying to upgrade something like a sniper rifle, or, for example, all of us have gone through the pain with Taipan, I think.
Yeah.
And to that end, things like the Dawning were a godsend. I think all of those special events, Dawning, Guardian Games, Solstice, etc., should give you double progress on crafting.
Yeah.
I think raids and dungeons should as well. Legend campaign.
Any kind of hard in-game activity or current event should give you that, I think.
I agree. I fully agree. That's it for the weapon crafting. That's it. It's a lot of high level changes ultimately. But yeah. Good shit all around, I think.
Yeah, good. I like it. You know, Josh, I'm okay with it. I'm good with it.
I will in fact allow it.
He will allow it, everybody. Another T-shirt idea.
I'll allow it. Josh allows it.
Yeah. You know what I just imagined on that shirt is you've seen the movie Dogma, right?
Yes.
The Buddy Christ, but just you in the
Oh my
pose of the Buddy
god.
Christ.
Oh my
Josh
god. Yeah,
allows it.
let me put my hair down and be Texas Jesus for a minute.
Yeah.
All right, so we're through the biggest 3 topics we had to get through.
It's true. They were
Thank
beefy.
God.
We told you this was a beefy episode, everybody.
There were 6 things we had to get through. We were through 3 of those. So
So strap in.
strap in.
No, Ronnie, not strap on like you thought I said in the Discord.
Not a whole lot in the TWAB this week. Just thank God. Thank God. So there's let's read through a few of the updates here real quick. So where I just lost my place because I accidentally scrolled up all the way on accident. We're seeing conversation around crafting, and we want to confirm that for Lightfall's release, the number of crafted weapons will be similar to what was released in the Witch Queen. What you can craft in Season 20 will be seasonal weapons, Neomuna weapons, base raid weapons, and a handful of other weapons that don't have direct comparisons to the Witch Queen. So, interesting. In Season 21 going forward, the following will be craftable. Seasonal raids, or seasonal weapons, and raid reprise weapons. For me, that screams that they're going to give us Vault of Glass crafting.
You think?
That's the only reprised raid that we have that you can't craft from.
I mean, the new one though, too. I guess it's this season. Never mind.
If it's a reprised raid, though,
Pass.
I mean that's so. Your options are Vogue, Garden, or Last Wish. Those are the only 3 raids that don't have crafting.
Yeah.
So unless you're going to drastically change the perk pools for the weapons in Last Wish and Garden, I don't see that happening. I think that's going to be Vault. I think it's going to be Vault of Glass,
which I guess could be cool. I mean,
it could be.
I mean, I guess I don't know.
I don't know that I care 2 years after release.
I mean, I don't know if I care enough about Vault of Glass weapons in the first place.
Well, and that's the whole other thing, right?
I mean, what everybody wants Fatebringer, right? But I
mean,
feel like that's nostalgia.
If you use the opportunity to update the perk pools, then I think people would be interested. It's just like there's not a place for the Last Wish and Garden weapons, even if you were to fix the perk pools. I don't think.
Right.
Just and like a lot of the archetypes and stuff that are in there, and just the types of weapons. Like we have immensely better weapons at this point.
Yeah.
A new Destiny Steel Series collab. They did
that
one of
headset
these
is
year.
sick looking, dude.
That headset is fucking dope. I don't know if it's $180 dope.
I didn't look at the prices.
It's their high end wireless headset, and it's a Destiny edition. It looks really cool. I'm probably going to cave on it. If I didn't already buy the mat last year, the mouse pad, I would definitely get this one. I actually think I like this one better.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get this because I didn't buy last year's, and I need one for my desk.
I still like last year's. I want to be really clear.
I really like last year's too. I'm just saying, like, I didn't get it, so
yeah,
this is easier for me to.
And I love that mouse.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love the mouse. I am planning to build a PC this year, so I may convince the girlfriend to let me buy that in the headset. So very excited. There is a special emote and emblem that are for the collaboration. So yeah, there's that. They give us a nice little wallpaper of that shot of the Traveler going up. It's basically the original Destiny promo art.
Oh, that's so cool.
So and we got to talk about this seasonal weapon, Corey.
All right, let's do it.
Lightfall ritual weapon coming in season 20 is Ecliptic Distaff, a Void Glaive. Little annoyed that it's a Void Glaive. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, yeah, we already have one, right? I mean,
well, we have one of each of the 3 light elements. I think this would have been a really cool opportunity to give us a strand or a stasis one.
Yeah.
The only reason I say I guess I'm a little bit bummed that this is a void one is because we built a void one in the campaign last year.
Yeah.
But we did just get a really good solar one, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is awesome though. It's got the Queen's Wrath insignia on it. So it's clearly an awoken weapon. That blade looks sick.
Dude, it looks so cool.
The perks are new perks debuting on this weapon, so I assume we'll see these perks going forward as well. Replenishing Aegis and destabilizing rounds. So very excited to see what those are. And each of these ornaments looks awesome. All three of these look great. I hate how good this Gambit one looks because I'm gonna have to do 2 Gambit resets now. I'm gonna actually have to go play Gambit for the no joke for the first time in a year because I can't say no to that ornament, and I'm not waiting a full year to get it out of the kiosk. That looks awesome.
It looks pretty cool. I'm not
All
gonna
of
lie.
these, all 3 of these ornaments look really dope.
Yeah.
So very very jazzed about that. Those are some really cool high res images. Um, but let's talk about the part that has a lot of people rightfully so up in arms. We said we were going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly tonight. This is the other ugly that we have to
Yeah. Oh
discuss.
boy.
At
I didn't
first,
believe it when I saw people talking about it. I'm like, there's no way.
I didn't either. I got very excited and I actually sent a screenshot of it to Nerd Generalist and I was like, oh my God, he and I were just talking about this morning.
Yeah.
This morning and yesterday, he and I were talking about this, saying like, oh my God, it's got to be easier than Strand. Like, just do it account wide once we've unlocked it. Starting with Lightfall, we're changing how paid character boosts work. Don't like that. I completely skipped the word paid when I read this, so I was very excited. We're introducing a new type of character boost that includes a campaign skip. Once Lightfall launches, players will see one of 2 types of boosts on their character screen depending on their progress. 1. Lightfall character boost appears when you hit soft cap with one character but have not completed Lightfall. This boost provides the selected character with a set of high power level gear. This boost does not skip the campaign. And then there's a Lightfall campaign skip boost. Appears when you complete Lightfall, skips the Lightfall campaign for your selected character, and unlocks Strand. This only includes a set of high power level gear if your main character has hit the soft cap. If you haven't reached the soft cap or completed the Lightfall campaign, neither character boost will be available. It's also worth noting that while the Lightfall campaign skip boost does unlock Strand, you won't receive the rewards, items, upgrade materials, etc. you would have earned through playing through the campaign. Lastly, you might have guessed this, but skipping the campaign doesn't count as having completed Legendary Mode or any of the post-campaign missions. If you want those triumphs, you still need to play through the missions. This is fucking horseshit.
It's gross.
It's fucking gross. Like, Nerd offered to take on this in the Discord. He said that if this was like $4.99 to skip it on his Titan and his Hunter, he would strongly consider it. But at probably 10 or 15 bucks, it's going to be a pass. And I completely agree. There is only one instance where I would absolutely pay to skip everything. I would pay 10 or 15 bucks, and that is to unlock stasis on my other 2 characters.
Yeah.
Because that is so horrifyingly bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
This is gross. This should not be tied to this. There are people, there are grinders who are undoubtedly going to go pay for this after they finish it on their first character because they want to get max level drops on everything leading into raid weekend and getting ready for trials and things like that. And I hats off to you. I'm sure they're going to make a killing on this, but I can't fathom spending money on this.
Yeah, it's gross.
I need to see how the campaign shakes out. I don't like this. The fact that pricing is absent from this is pretty telling. Also, that they know this is not going to go over well. And then there's this little nugget at the end. The Centurion in the room is obviously, does this mean I can skip previous campaigns too? There isn't a way for now, but rest assured we'll continue to monitor your feedback on the matter. They fucking know that we want to pay to skip stasis. I will drop real world money to skip stasis.
Oh my gosh, I'd pay $20 to skip stasis.
I'll pay $20 for stasis on my Warlock. I'll Venmo you tonight. Like, seriously, Joe, tell me your fucking Venmo. I'll send it to you right now. I know you listen to this show.
I know. Big fan.
Yeah, this is gross. This is the exact opposite of what we wanted. I mean, we wanted this, but we don't want to have to pay for it. And I don't think you should have to. If you unlock something, it should be unlocked account wide.
Yeah, I think anything tied to the campaign or the missions after the campaign should be account wide.
Yep.
And I mean the extra stuff, the in-game stuff, sure, whatever. But like the campaign and the missions after the main campaign should be account wide, and they should have that in a separate page tab too. Like,
And it's not like this is something that we're bringing up for the first time right now.
no, we
This is
brought it up
something
at
we've had this
Lightfall,
discussion
or we brought
literally
it up at
since,
Beyond Light. We had
yeah,
brought it up at Witch Queen. We brought it up. I mean, we've
we
been
bring it
bringing
up
it up.
every couple of months.
Yeah.
I'm getting really tired of having to have this conversation too. But yeah, all things aside, I really, really, really would like to see them revisit this. I think that the outcry has been very strong tonight too. I've seen nothing but complaints about this.
Yeah.
Because a couple of us all had the same response. We're like, "Oh my god, yes!" And then we saw it said paid, and
Yeah.
immediately all the excitement in the room evaporated.
Yeah, I saw it in the Discord. I think somebody said, "Oh, it's paid." I'm like, "No, it's not. You had to have read it wrong."
I thought the same thing. I was like, "There's no way." I think it was Nerd who pointed it out. Was like, "It says paid." I was like, "No!" And then I looked at my own screenshot and like, "God damn it!" In my excitement, I just posted it. The first couple stories I saw about it also did not have it highlighted that it's paid. Skip good, pay bad. We have one last update before we get out of here. And it's to remind, we're going to remind you guys again next week, but the 24-hour downtime will go. Destiny will be brought offline at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, February 27th. At which time ongoing activities will end. You will be returned to the title screen, and preloading for Lightfall will become available. Players will be able to log back in once downtime concludes at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, February 28th. During the 24-hour downtime leading up to Lightfall's launch, players will be unable to claim and purchase Bungie rewards. Rewards from Season 19 and the Witch Queen that are expiring must be earned and claimed by the beginning of downtime. So, in other words, if you have been waiting, like me, to claim and purchase your Iron Lord seal, you have to do it before the servers go down on the 27th. Because that is one of the very few rewards that actually expires that day and not a month later, like most of the Seraph ones. So that's a little alarming and a little annoying. Also, the PlayStation preload. PS4 players and PS5 players using the PS4 version of Destiny 2 who are looking to preload Lightfall should make sure they have 80 gigs of free space for an additional install package to be downloaded on top of the existing Destiny 2 ones. The old packages will be removed once Lightfall launches, but during the 24-hour downtime, both versions will need to be in storage for the preload to succeed. Good luck, guys. If you're playing on a PS4, you are surely used to this by now, but you have fun, kids. I hope you get in at a decent time, unlike the last couple of expansions.
Yep.
Well, that's a nightmare.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, everyone. If you're still playing on a PS4, I'm truly sorry.
Yeah. I mean, man.
And that does it for the TWAB. Corey, we're almost done.
We are.
We're almost done. There's not a lot I really want to talk about with their with the ViDoc and with the interactive trailer that came out yesterday.
Yeah.
They're both cool. You should definitely watch them. The ViDoc definitely is a more of an overview of what's going to happen immediately in Lightfall when we load into Neomuna. You definitely get a lot of hints of what the beginning of the game is going to be like. The Pyramid Fleet is assaulting Earth under Callus's command.
Yep.
And it looks like Keidel's fleet and maybe some Elixni ships are fighting them in space. We see some Guardian ships flying around, and then we hitch a ride on the back of somebody's ship. There's a really cool shot of the Witness kind of floating through space. Very Princess Leia from The Last Jedi-esque. That was a little trippy, and he's definitely appearing to Callus. We see Callus decked out in his full armor as a disciple.
And his bucket helmet.
Dude, okay, so the armor is so fucking cool. It's panning up. It's like that meme of the horse that starts out exquisitely drawn and is like a scribble by the end.
Yeah.
That's all I could think about is like he got this dope ass armor and they forgot to give him a helmet, so he took the nearest bucket away from a janitor and crammed it on his head.
Dude, it's just a bucket.
Callus just finished binging Game of Thrones and hasn't seen how the Mountain meets his fate and just decided, I want his helmet. That's what he decided. It's bad. It's real bad.
It's kind of funny.
It's fucking goofy. It's fucking goofy.
At this point, though, Callus is just goofy, so...
Callus is a very goofy character. He's holding a chalice. It's It's wild. We see the Puka Pond. Very excited for that.
We finally saw where the pukas come from.
We finally saw where the Pukas come from. There's a beach on Niamuna. We met some of the Cloud Striders.
Yeah. Rohan and what's the
Nimbus.
other? Nimbus? Yeah.
I think it's
They're
Nimbus.
cool.
Yeah, they're fucking cool.
They remind me of the characters from Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit.
I just want to know, will I be able to get one of their little surfboards as my, quote, sparrow for this planet?
Oh my gosh, dude, if we could use those instead of sparrows.
Dude, I'd never take it off. I'm using it on every fucking planet.
No, dude, when I play Fortnite, I don't use a glider. I use the surfboard.
Oh, man. I really need this to be a thing.
Oh, man, that'd be so cool.
I'd
be so happy.
There's some really cool shots in here though, but yeah, go watch it if you want more of a broad overview. You want to see what some of the supers look like, some of the abilities look like in action. That they didn't really go super in depth in the abilities trailer a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. There's some cool stuff in there. Not nearly as much about like the future as we've gotten in ViDocs before, and I think that's okay, even though this is like the longest one. Everybody gets kind of a chance to shine. Narrative gets to talk cinematics, abilities, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's good. It's just kind of bringing everything that we've been reading over the last couple of weeks on the show into perspective. Is really what a lot of it's doing. And it ends with a shot that curiously looks like it may be the raid load-in screen.
Yeah. Well, they did that in Witch Queen.
They did that in Witch Queen. There's been some debate if it's going to be that, because there's been a lot of stuff floating around for about the last 6 to 8 months about the raid and the raid location, and it kind of goes against a lot of what we've heard. Of course, we're not going to discuss spoilers and leaks here. Those are out there for you to go search out on your own if you want to.
Yeah.
Just, we're not going to traffic in that. Again, we're going to treat it a lot like we did with the Witch Queen stuff. Once Lightfall's come out, once the raid has come out, I'll say what I had read, and we'll all laugh about how inaccurate it was and how excited I got over nothing.
That's fine.
Yeah, we'll all have a good laugh together. But there is a new 6-player activity, has been confirmed on Niamuna, that Paul Tassi got a preview of, and a few others at the Bungie preview event. This is the first preview event they've done for an expansion in quite some time, like since before COVID.
Yeah.
I think Shadowkeep was the last time they did one of these. They did it in person. It was an in-person summit, because I remember Datto being able to capture video from it. He was like, oh my God, when he saw the pyramid for the first time, like, holy shit. I'm kind of curious to see what else we get. That 6-player activity has been described as kind of like more akin to like escalation protocol. So very interested to see how that goes. Especially with them saying that like basically every street and building surface is a battleground. Very excited to see how this all goes. Callus' ship is like straight up landed on part of the city, and that part of the city is like on flames and in ruins, things of that nature. I think this is going to be an awesome campaign. This is going to be an awesome area to explore. I'm very excited. It certainly looks more engaging than the Throne World.
Yeah.
I don't think the Throne World was bad. The Throne World had a lot of secrets, and like it had a lot of verticality to it. Like a lot of, not verticality, but like underground stuff and like different dimensions and things like that. This, it looks like you're going to be using a lot of strand to traverse. All I'm saying is I can't wait for the first Titan to fly by me and I grapple onto them.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man.
Do you any thoughts on the ViDoc? I don't think there's a whole lot to really discuss here, frankly.
No, I mean, it was a good watch. It was a good preview.
It's a good one. If you've kept up with everything, I don't feel like there was anything like really new.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there's anything bad.
And that's not a bad thing.
No. I enjoyed it though. I mean,
I enjoyed it.
I enjoy all these behind the scenes videos though.
Nobody does them as good as Bungie.
No, definitely not.
Let's go into the final thing then. We have a lot of listener questions tonight. We have like 10 or 12 listener questions, and that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
We have to start first with our old friend. He hasn't written in a little while. Tomcat and Socks. I I am so sorry that I forgot to get to your stuff last week.
We both
We've kind of been
missed it.
sitting on these questions for a little bit. It's been a very busy time. We're so used to everything showing up in the Discord now.
Yeah.
Um, but Tomcat and Socks writes in with 3 questions for us. Question number 1: will the Days of Iron ornaments from D1 ever come to D2? Maybe? Question mark. I think with the beloved Destiny 1 Iron Banner armor coming over, it's definitely possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you've never looked at this armor, it is I think it's some of the coolest Destiny 1 armor.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Armor
for sure.
ornaments. This is the armor when I talk about stuff I would like to see, and I don't think it would be too hard to put into the game. We've
Yeah.
already got the flaming effects of Iron Banner armor, so
Mm-hmm.
I'd really like to see that come over. If it does, I could see it showing up with Wrath of the Machine because it was tied to the Rise of Iron expansion.
Yeah.
Question number 2: how long will Bungie support Destiny 1?
I mean, they've got to sunset that at some point, right?
They
Maybe
gotta
after the
sunset it
final
at some
shape.
point. It'll be sometime after the final shape, but I really think that I think we can start kind of putting a timeline on this later on this year once Wrath of the Machine is in the game.
Yeah.
I still maintain that I think that they're secretly bringing over a lot of the Destiny 1 content to be accessible via cloud, or in a hypothetical Destiny 3, have all the content from both games.
Yeah.
It's time. Just let us install what we want and have it in there. Have like a core playlist that like has to update every season. Like update the Vanguard playlist every season with this is what's going to be in here, and this is the Nightfalls that you're forced to have installed. Everything else is optional. I could
Yeah.
see that happening.
Yeah. There's just so much to bring over too, right? Though I mean, like you have
You have to
original.
pick and choose. You're gonna have to pick and choose.
I mean, you have if you're bringing over Wrath of the Machine and you want to bring over Destiny content, you got to think about the Plague Lands. You got to think about D1 Mars. You got to think about the Dreadnought.
So
Like there
yeah,
are
and
just
that's
there's
the
just
thing is
massive
like
locations that.
I don't know if we're gonna get. I don't know about all the areas coming over, but I do think I think that the strikes would be easier to bring over
Yeah.
because they're largely self-contained.
Mm-hmm.
And like Wrath of the Machine may take place in the Plague Lands, but it's self-contained in the
Yeah.
Plague Lands.
Yeah.
There is no Death Zamboni in the patrol zones.
There could be.
There could be. I hope not. And
Not
then
trying hard enough.
Tomcat's last question is: do you think it's possible that Callus tries to double cross the Witness in Lightfall? Before we saw today's promo imagery and the explicit discussion or explicit confirmation from Bungie that we are fighting Callus's Shadow Legion on Earth during Season of Defiance, I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
If anything, I think we kill him in Lightfall.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
Right.
think Callus is the boss that we finally take down after all these years. I mean, and that's
I do
another
too.
thing, like kind of coming full circle, right?
I wonder if
Um,
Callus is being used by. I know like Callus is kind of working for the Witness, but I wonder if
oh, that
Zivul
kind of. He's
Wrath is like
explicitly a disciple now.
it's like a bait and switch type thing. I wonder.
I would love it. I would love it. And that's so that's Tomcat's questions. Now we have a lot from the Discord. Oh boy. In a week that I did not think we were going to get that many questions. Yodeler writes in, thank you for filling in, by the way, a
Yeah, it
couple
was a
weeks
good
ago.
time.
I appreciate it. What are some of the guns you guys think are going to be absolute meta in Lightfall with the recent buffs that Bungie has posted?
Oh God, this is a Josh question.
This is a me question, and man. The only thing I can say like for sure that I would make sure that I had a good one of is Wendigo. Wendigo will be up as the Nightfall weapon next week.
Yeah,
Highly encourage you guys to go get one. I think Warden of Nothing is the GM also if you want to go try and get an adept one. I would recommend you get that. Bump in the Night with Chill Clip auto-loading chill clip is probably what you want to be running on Bump of the Night. I think Heritage and Succession are both very good guns that are craftable from Deepstone that you want to consider having in your arsenal. If you have rolls from a couple years ago that were good, then you're probably okay. But those are both really, really strong weapons that you're going to want. On the primary side of things, absolutely have an Icolos SMG, a Callus mini tool, and I'm going to say a tarnished metal ready to go. So that's 2 SMGs and a scout rifle from the seasonal activities. I personally really love Sweet Sorrow as an auto rifle from Risen. I think it's the best auto rifle we got all year.
I love Sweet Sorrow so much.
I think it's great, especially with the arc buffs. I would love to see that thing with Volt Shot.
Oh
I'm
my
really
gosh.
hoping we get new perk pools this year for it.
Oh my gosh, that would be so good.
It'd be so good. Disparity is a really, really good pulse. Just across the board, Disparity is a great pulse to have. Peace of Mind has nominated PvP for a while. I don't know if it's still going to be meta, but pulses I think are still going to be really good going into next year, especially if you play PvP. I use them in PvE and PvP personally. Disparity's kind of been my go-to as far as ones have been out this year. As far as exotics go, I'm not really sure, honestly. I think it so vastly depends on the encounter. I'm gonna think on this a little bit more. I'm gonna solicit some feedback from some of our friends who are very good build crafters and weaponsmiths.
I feel like Johnny would be a good one to consult.
I want to talk to Johnny. I want to talk to Dealer. I want to talk to a couple of those guys.
Yeah.
And I want to come back with a few more answers for you. Those are just like the things off the top of my head. I don't think you can go wrong with linear fusion, but the linear fusions almost certainly will not be the meta for boss damage going into the raid for Lightfall.
Yeah.
If they still were, I'd be shocked. But the nerf to Vice Singer basically means that they're bringing Reed's Regret and Taipan in line. Storm Chaser may be the best linear at that point, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
That's probably still a good one to go try and grind out. But yeah, those are kind of like my gut reaction answers that I have right now. I'm gonna give you a better answer next week. I'll give a better answer next week, and then I'm planning the week leading into the raid, sharing some of the weapons that my team's decided on bringing in. I have the list. It's just it's not in the notebook that's near me, unfortunately. It's in my backpack in my car, which is not currently at my house. It is parked at the hospital, so my girlfriend can go to work.
That's fair. That's
Yodeler has a second question. Non-Destiny related. How long did Josh wait in line for all the Star Wars attractions at Disney? 20 minutes.
Yeah. I mean,
my longest wait was the line that I paid to be in for Rise of the Resistance, and I think Star Tours. I walked straight on to Smuggler's Run.
Yeah, Smuggler's Run never has a long line.
Oh, it does. It's just we walked straight on it first thing in the morning. We went and did Slinky Dog and then went straight to Smuggler's Run. A lot of fun. I may have waited more for my blue milk than I did to get on Smuggler's Run.
To be fair, blue milk is good.
To be fair, blue milk is very good. I also waited a little while to get my seat at the bar. So
that's also fair.
I did not wait. This is the least amount of time I've waited for Star Wars rides. I'm never not going at the beginning of February ever again. I'm going in February forever for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's seems to be the good time to go if you're gonna go. We're trying to figure out when we're gonna go next. It's probably gonna be February.
We're talking about going with our mutual friend Ray. We're talking about going while his daughter is still young enough to go for free.
Yeah.
That's
what we did with my son.
Talking about planning a trip for either very late this year or early next year around this time when she'd be about 2.
Yeah.
Thinking about taking her for her second birthday. So all of us getting away from the cold for a few days.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go in February. I would like to go this year. Don't get me wrong, but like November was it was so busy.
We're like low key. Me and him are both low key, kind of pushing to take her to Disneyland instead of World. First off, because it's only 2 parks, but also so selfishly we can take a cab all the way across LA to go to Super Nintendo World.
I mean, that's fair.
because there's no way I'm going to a theme park and not going to Super Nintendo World.
I mean, it's fair.
It's like my trade off is though if I go back to Florida, I get the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, which is like one of the best theme park rides I've ever done.
Yeah, but if you go to Disneyland, you get the Guardians of the Galaxy Tower of Terror.
Yeah, I don't care. It's not the Tower of Terror, so I don't care.
Gosh, dude, Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster was so good.
I'm a traditionalist. I love the Corey. I've spoken at length about my love of the Twilight Zone on various podcasts over the years.
It's fair.
The fact that they took Twilight Zone out of that to put in Guardians of the Galaxy just nauseates me. I love the Guardians, but goddamn, having Rod Sterling talk to me while I'm trying to enjoy a theme park ride is just great.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
It's great. It's great. I can recite the entire narration from memory. Anyways, moving right along, Nerd Generalist has a question for us. Should we remove Gambit entirely? If not, what are some scenarios for a refresh revamp of the activity? Take it out. Take it out.
Look, here's my opinion. Okay, take it out, but bring back Prison of Elders minus Skolas.
If you took out Gambit, I've floated this before, I would like for you to take Gambit out and bring it back maybe like 2-3 times a season, but bring it back as Trials of the Nine. Like literally call it Trials of the Nine.
Yeah.
Or like Arena of the Nine or something, because Drifter's story is so intertwined with them at this point. I'd like to see something along those lines, but take it out until you can give it the true like TLC that it needs. It's clear that Bungie doesn't give a shit anymore about Gambit, and it's a shame. But like this mode really has had no, other than some balancing, it hasn't had a major update since Forsaken.
Yeah,
this feels like a mode that was only supposed to be in for like a year, and then they decided, oh, people are playing it, we're gonna leave it in, and it's just like steadily gone downhill since Opulence.
Yeah.
It had some moments in Shadowkeep where I think it was still good. By the end of Shadowkeep, it was completely unplayable. And it's just, it somehow keeps getting worse. It's gotten to the point where not even I will play it. And I was a Gambit defender for quite a while.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's got to go. It's got to go. They need to pull it out. I don't even know what you do to revamp it at this point. I think that we're all just so nauseated with it. Like, it's a relic of a time long since past, and putting in tracking rockets. I mean, tracking rockets got introduced at the same time, and it was bad. Bad Omens was bad, but you could at least like mitigate that a little bit. You mainly got terrorized by linear fusions and by 1K. It got real bad when everybody got handed truth. That's when it started to get really bad.
Yeah.
If truth hadn't been in there, I think that Gambit probably could have survived a bit longer, but it wouldn't have made it to Beyond Light without being a mess. I stopped playing somewhere in Beyond Light Gambit. I would play it just enough to get the shader. I can't even be bothered to do that. I've got like 4 Gambit shaders I'm missing now, unfortunately. So you're gonna have to give me more than a shader, a ghost projection, and an ornament from 2 resets to get me in there.
Yeah. Gambit.
Nitro TJ writes in, he's got a couple questions in here. We're just going to read them in the order that they came in. I played Hunter for 98% of Witch Queen, and it's time for a change. I'm wanting to be an ad clear Strand main Titan or Warlock. You guys decide. So, I mean, if you're going to main Strand, I feel like you got to go with the Warlock.
Yeah, I think Warlock's the
I really like the Warlock abilities. I think it plays into the power fantasy, especially like today in the ViDoc, we got the explanation that Strand is not a darkness power. That's being emphasized again and again and again, but it's not a light power either. It's something that's inside of all of us. Like, it's the fabric and the weave of life. And like, that's really philosophical for Destiny, and I low-key love it. Yeah. I think that if you're going to play into that power fantasy of Strand, you need to be running Warlock. Seeing the Rift activation and just the Strand stuff swarm out at the Vex Goblins was awesome. That was the best ability I saw today.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I absolutely loved it. If you're going to go for ad clear of any, I still think if you're going to do ad clear at all, like I think Warlock is the way to go, because you got that. You've got the Shade Binder if you want to go play Stasis. You've got, I personally still like Void Warlock. I know that it's got some faults, but I still love throwing some Nova bombs around. And I think that Arc and Solar are like 1 or 2 tweaks away from being really viable again in most content, most PvE content.
Yeah.
I think it's the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Ronnie asks us. He goes, Nerd Generalist is out here spitting hate because he knows the answer to his question that you guys will give. My question is, since it's Valentine's week and all, if you could pick only one person who has kept you playing Destiny this whole time, who would you name? Give them their flowers. Yourself is not an acceptable answer. Boo! Boo! I play for myself and myself only.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a bit of an unorthodox answer that nobody who listens to this show is going to be expecting. My girlfriend. I was out of Destiny, and she was still playing, and drugged me back not once but twice. She drugged me back during Rise of Iron. She actually, so Major Nelson gives out codes every week. Free Code Friday. She won Free Code Friday when Rise of
Ooh,
Iron came out.
nice.
And that got me to check it out a little bit. I had actually bought it on PS4 because I just wanted to play through the campaign. So she had it and was just chilling with it for like a year. She was playing all the time. She was doing the raids and stuff. Finally got me to come back to Wrath of the Machine. I played Vanilla D2, hated it. She kept playing. She played a lot of Curse of Osiris, which may contribute to why she doesn't play anymore. But we saw the death of Cade in the Forsaken trailers. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can come back. They're killing off the only character I like. And she goes, I'm playing it regardless. I think you should take the day off work and come play it with me. And I remember telling her that if this is bad, I'm never touching the franchise again. I've been burned one too many times now.
Yeah.
I got burned with Vanilla. I got burned with Dark Below. I did not like Rise of Iron like everybody else in the world did. I got burned by Vanilla D2. Got really burned by Curse of Osiris.
Curse of Osiris is bad.
And I mean, Forsaken. That Forsaken is like the rebirth of my Destiny journey. If she hadn't convinced me to take that day off work and stay home and play the campaign with her, I don't know that I would have stayed with Destiny.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't be doing this show. The honorable mention is my buddy Matt. Me and him have been playing Bungie games together since we were 12. That's how we became friends. We bonded over the release of Halo 2. His brother bought a copy of Halo 2. He invited me over to his house, and that was the end. That was it. We've been stuck together ever since. That was, oh God, it was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm old. Who's kept you playing, Corey?
I mean, a few people over the years, I guess. My friend Mitch, it's like we used to work together and we're still friends, but we live like he lives like an hour from here, which, it's not that far. I guess like 45 minutes to an hour, but like it's the only way we get to like hang out without having to like drive somewhere. Um so before this show, like I was playing, right? Like I was playing, but I wasn't playing like a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to keep up with everything and the stories and stuff, but I wasn't doing like everything. Definitely wasn't raiding because we were just the two of us and we didn't want to figure out LFG or join a random Discord and like, try to meet people, which is whatever. So I mean, we did everything up to like that kind of stuff. But really it was him that really kept me playing and engaged. And so yeah, my friend Mitch, and then honestly, like this show has kept me way more engaged, and you, Josh, honestly, to like keep me really engaged in the game. Not that I wouldn't be, because I love Destiny and I love the lore and stuff, but like it's the little things in Destiny, like the builds and the weapon stuff and the deep lore stuff that we go over every week. And it's just this show has really kept me engaged too.
Yeah.
And then obviously like opening up the Discord opened up a whole new avenue of people to play with and experiences. So
Yeah, by far the best decision that we've made with the show was opening up the Discord.
oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we've got a couple more questions here tonight. Knox writes in, love your name, by the way. Love your screen name. I play a D&D campaign, and my rogue Dragonborn is named Knox. spelled exactly like Nox. That's his name. So good shit. Good shit right there. With Lake of Shadows and Arms Dealer strikes getting a refresh, what are some things you guys think should be included and changed in these strikes? Example, are you hoping for a full revamp or just increases in enemy density? What are some other strikes you guys would think would also require a refresh? I kind of would be fine with either a full revamp or an increase in density. I think
Mm,
that an increase in density doesn't really do you a whole lot, like in the boss fight of
right.
Arms Dealer, for example, because I think that's already chaotic enough if you don't burn the boss down.
Yeah.
They're almost certainly going to adjust the health of these bosses too, because that's part of the reason that we can just go in and wail on them.
Right.
Um,
I would almost like some light raid like mechanics or something. Just like light mechanics, you know?
so I almost wonder if with them changing these, are they going to change like the core of the story around these? Are we
And
going to
they
be
would
able to
have to,
select
right?
like the classic version, or could we be fighting like the Shadow Legion in Arms Dealer and like Zivu Wrath's Taken and
Hmm.
maybe even Hive in um, Lake of Shadows?
Yeah. I mean, they're no stranger to
Put
doing
some
that.
Hive Guardians in there, my guy.
Yeah. I mean, they're
I
no
know
stranger to
that's
doing
not
alternate
Zivu Wrath,
versions
but
of.
like, give me some wacky shit. Like, I don't know, have Imaru like shit talk me. That dude just disappeared,
Yeah.
which is almost certainly going to come back to bite us in the ass. But we'll
Nah.
see.
Nah.
We've never messed up like that before. I'd like to see some like basic mechanics rather than just like dunking. Um,
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
like that was such a basic mechanic, but like that was a raid mechanic. Like
yeah.
I'd like to see something beyond just like dunking. I'm not really sure what you do for like a strike. Because as we've seen, people don't like throwing things either. We've had problems with the corrupted for 4 or 5 years now with people not communicating. Um, I would really like to see. I mean, obviously, we've already talked. Exodus Crash and Inverted Spire are going to be fixed as well. They're really the last ones. I think. I think the others are all in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
Um, I
Gosh, we'll have
don't.
to play Inverted Spire one more
Unless
time.
you're going to go back and revamp the Destiny One strikes again, which you could, but I think the addition of like the Briggs and Devil's Lair was a great change.
Yeah.
I think like Fallen Saber would really be the only one you could make more changes to, but there's not like a whole lot. It's not like you can add extra rooms into it.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's the honest question. What are we gonna do? If we still had like the IO strikes or like Savathun's song, I think there's a lot more room there to
Hmm.
change those, but I don't think that there is now.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Exodus Crash is by far the biggest one. By far.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, look,
God, that fucking strike.
I mean,
I look
besides
forward to
this,
seeing how they change it, but that fucking strike, man.
you think they're going to take Cade out of it?
I think that's part of what they're doing with these is because Cade still narrates Arms Dealer and
Yeah.
Exodus Crash.
Yeah.
I think that part of it's going to be taking him out,
Yeah.
which is a shame, but
Rip
you know,
Cade.
okayed. So I would like there to be kind of like when they did the Siva strikes
Hmm.
or like the Taken strikes in
Yep.
V1, you could
Hmm.
still play the classic version.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Is like they.
I'd like for the classic one to be the one that you launch and like the playlist one to be the new one.
Yeah.
Uh TJ writes in with his second question. Do you think the Titan Super is made for an ad clear playstyle? All the other Titan Supers are mainly made for DPS. This is kind of hard to answer. I don't feel like we've seen enough of the Super
Are
for me to like really say.
are the Titan Supers made for DPS though? Because like shield throwing's
I
pretty
don't think
ad
so.
cleary.
I don't
I
think so.
also think Striker Titan's pretty ad cleary.
I think the only I'm gonna go a step further. I think the only Titan Super that's like really made for DPS is Burning Maul,
Yeah.
and like that still needs probably another PVE buff.
Yeah.
And hammers with very specific builds, Behemoth
Yeah.
with a very specific build, or Thunder Crash.
Yeah.
It's really Thunder Crash. Like
Yeah.
that is the main DPS one.
Yeah.
I think Titans hilariously almost have like a decent divide, but they have the support class, they have the shield throw. The shield throw is absolutely useless against enemies or against big enemies.
Yeah.
You better be running banner shield or popping that bubble if you're on void.
Yeah.
Um,
My bubble is my safety, you know?
yeah, it's your safe space. It's your
Yeah.
blankie.
Hmm.
Uh, Ronnie has another question. In either two expansions, Lightfall or Final Shape, will we get to see the Traveler cracked open and what's inside? Yes.
I bet the final shapes raid takes place inside the Traveler.
Oh my god, could you, dude? What? So
Between this Traveler and you go to into the Traveler and then you go to the Witness's ship and it's like a back and forth kind of
that would be
dimensional.
really cool. I would enjoy that. I think that it would be even funnier if, because the only person according to lore that has ever claimed to have been inside the Traveler is Fenchurch.
Yeah.
Bring Fenchurch into the game for the Final Shape, Bungie.
What if Fenchurch is just chilling inside the Traveler?
Dude, if he's fucking chilling inside the Traveler and hasn't bothered to write tests this whole time, she's gonna be pissed. No word from Fenchurch today. Shut up, Tess. No one cares. Give Tess some new lines, please.
Sell me something that I'll get angry about in 5
I'm
minutes.
listening to like the great music that's in the tower, like the somber music after the final cutscene of the season, and then I hear her ass yelling from across the tower.
Yeah.
Ugh, it just completely ruins it. Tiger Jesus writes in, what would you like Bungie to shadow drop in Destiny? This is the question I was referring to earlier. Strikes, baby. Strikes.
Yeah.
Because you can already shadow drop exotic missions. And they've said it's getting harder and harder to shadow drop stuff because data miners.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm in favor. Just start revoking those API keys. Of
Yeah.
anyone who's data mining and leaking shit, just block them. Take away their API codes. I don't know. I don't know what you do, but do something because it's getting really annoying.
Yeah.
I've about fucking had it. I do think that some people with tools to the API are a great help. I think obviously Dim, Braytech. I read off of Ishtar Collective every week when we do Lore Corner. Today in Destiny, all those are great apps, but holy shit, I'm so tired of a few specific individuals data mining the shit out of stuff and then plastering it all over the internet. Or being like, I didn't know it was going to get this kind of traction. Yes, you fucking did. Stop doing it. Stop fucking doing it.
Right.
It's not that hard. I promise you, it's not that hard. But I think like strikes would be a great thing. Proving Grounds was a big surprise when it came in, and
Yeah.
I'd like to replicate that. I would rather have some new strikes than more battlegrounds. Like I get that battlegrounds are like a cheap way to get more activities into vanguards, and now obviously nightfalls and whatnot. But it's still like strikes tell a story,
Yeah.
and I think that's why I like them. Like where they have the capacity to. I think a lot of the strikes that we've gotten since Beyond Light, or really since Forsaken, have told a story. You know, in Forsaken, you had the corrupted. You're saving Cydia. Warden of Nothing, you're going in to fight the Warden Servitor, and Drifters guiding you through it. We're going to ignore that Broodhaven existed. That was a terrible strike. But even Hollowed Lair, you're fighting the Fanatic after he reappeared. And canonically, you're running that strike all the time because he keeps showing back up. You keep killing him and he keeps coming back.
Right.
You have the Glassway, you have the Scarlet Keep, like those both tell stories. Proving Grounds tells a story. You're fighting Kaido's champion, and like that's a pivotal moment in the story.
Yeah.
She literally submits to Zavala afterwards. She saves him from an assassination attempt. Her and Crow do,
Hmm.
and that's when the alliance is formed. And it's like, oh shit, that's a massive moment for this franchise. In Witch Queen, you had Lightblade and you had Birthplace of the Vile. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
and both of those explored the other things. So I'd like to see some stuff shadow dropped. I'd like to see some actual strike shadow dropped. There's no reason why you can't have, in the seasons where you don't have battlegrounds, for example, that you can't have a strike that tells like the end of that season's storyline.
Right.
Like you're going to tell me that the final pirate hideout we go into and plunder couldn't have been a strike?
Right.
You're going to tell me that? Like you're going to tell me we couldn't race through to find Ido? you're going to tell me that like one of the Sever missions couldn't have been a strike?
Yeah.
That the one where we team up with Keitel to fight Callus wasn't that's not possible for that to have been a strike?
Right.
I mean, even a dumbed down version of, like, we've said it before, of the exorcism mission and of this mission, like, or expanded versions of them, even like that, those can't be strikes.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but I'd like to see more
I
of
don't.
these because I think that that helps immortalize the story. Like, it's great that we're getting a legacy playlist, but there's still significant story beats that we're missing, and I think strikes are a way to kind of fill that in. Like, those are the operations that are happening between the expansions and between seasonal content and everything.
Yeah.
So, rather than 4 battlegrounds that basically don't advance the story,
Yeah.
they do in that immediate moment, but not in a playlist. Not
Yeah.
in a playlist where they're mixed in with strikes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Last question of the night. Final question. TJ writes in one more time. Would you like to see Bungie possibly implement an exotic RNG percentage where the more legendaries you unlock, a higher percentage chance you would get that exotic? For instance, let's say you get all the legendaries from a dungeon. Now you would have a higher percentage of getting the exotic from the dungeon. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That sounds like a great
That's,
idea.
I mean, we've already got variations of that with the dungeons. I don't remember if we did if it's in the raid. I think it's in the raid also, where you have higher exotic chances if you complete everything with clanmates, if you complete it solo, if you find like the hidden secrets, for instance, in duality, if you found like all 10 of Callus's memories or something, 10 or
Yeah.
12, whatever it was, you got one. If you found all
It was
6
10.
terminals in Spire, you get a higher percentage chance. It needs to be that, and for every clear that you get, there needs to be a counter that's going up every time.
Yeah.
Like, until you're like guaranteed like a 1 in 3 chance at getting the exotic or something. Because like Nerd has done something like 70 to 80 Atheon clears and still has yet to get a Vex Mythic Last.
Yeah. I haven't gotten one either, and I did what, probably 20 something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not nearly as many as Nerd, but
Yeah.
you know, the point remains. So.
Yeah. No, it definitely needs to be it. It needs to be it. So, whew.
You're right there, Josh. We're almost there, Josh. We're almost done.
I think we are there, as a matter of fact. I think that is it.
Man, Beefy.
I hope that's it. I'm double checking, but I think that that's it for tonight.
This has been a one beefy boy, to say the least.
Oof. It's been beefy. My voice is exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm going to eat dinner and drink a bunch of water and probably go to bed.
I mean, that's fair. You know, I'm just that's fair. So I guess we'll get out of here. It's not a lot to talk about. It's fine. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this big beefy episode of Tower Casuals. You can follow us on Twitter at Tower Casuals. Join the Discord, play with some friends, talk Destiny, all that stuff. Ask us questions if you have them. And Josh, as always, thank you for your time tonight.
Oh, thank you, Corey.
It's been a ride.
This has been it's funny. Like, this is the most crammed episode we've had in a long time. This still probably is not as long as when John and I broke down weapons.
No.
So for this to only be 12 or 13 minutes over 2 hours is actually kind of an accomplishment. We were joking. We didn't know if we were going to have to split this into 2 episodes.
Yeah, we were literally heavily considering it.
If the ViDoc had too much stuff in it today, it would have been 2 episodes, frankly.
Yeah.
So, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bungie.
Yeah.
We almost needed questions the next week too, and then I was like, no, because knowing my luck, we're going to get more stuff next week. That's going to be huge.
Yeah.
We'll get a sandbox update or something. So,
man, where can we find you, Josh?
In the Discord. Just find me in the Discord. I'm Finn in the Discord. Come hang out. I'm usually hanging out there. I'm using Twitter a lot less these days. But Josh_Finn on Twitter if you feel so inclined. Yeah, just hanging out, getting ready. 10 days, 10 days away, Corey.
10 days, 10 whole days.
10 whole days.
Well, you can find me at I am Corey HC on Twitter and Instagram. Fun fact: this episode is only our 8th episode over 2 hours, so you're welcome.
That's actually kind of wild. I feel like it's been we've done a lot more over 2 hours.
There's a lot of 140s and 150s, like 1 hour 40 minutes, 1 hour 50 minutes. But yeah.
Well, this is probably the first of a few over the next month.
Yeah.
Typically around the expansion time is when we have the beefier ones.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, go play some Destiny. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.